Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of June 25th, 2026, including Grand Theft Auto 6 has an official price and is now available for pre-order. Entertainment Weekly had a big Xbox cover story, giving us tons to talk about. What does the Steam Machine pricing signal about Xbox Project Helix? All that and more. On This Week in Xbox History, in the year 2013, 13 years ago, Deadpool was released for the Xbox 360, developed by High Moon and published by Activision. High Moon, of course, now a studio that is on permanent Call of Duty bitch work, and Deadpool, a notable game because I remember when this game came out, it was like 3 years before the Deadpool movie came out, completely unrelated to it, and so Deadpool was still technically a pretty niche Marvel character. You had to be like an actual, fan of comic books to really know who Deadpool was. Like, I won't lie, I never read a Deadpool comic in my fucking life. I only knew him as like a character I had seen in passing, but never watched, read about, anything like that. But I remember when this game came out, it had a little bit of a splash because I know like it was making the rounds for being like really funny and really raunchy, and people were like, hey, this game's actually pretty good. I remember it reviewing pretty decently for some like cheap license game on a Marvel character that at the time nobody really knew about or gave a shit about. So I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a little bit of like a lost hidden little gem, a little treasure. Another Activision Marvel game that's just kind of lost to the depths of licensing hell. And now that Microsoft owns Activision, it's like, hey, maybe you could bring games like Deadpool and X-Men Origins Wolverine and Spider-Man 2 and Ultimate Spider-Man and Spider-Man Web of Shadows and Shattered Dimension and all these excellent games, and Hulk Ultimate Destruction and X-Men Legends and all these excellent Marvel games you have. Maybe you could take them and bring them forward. You could renew these licenses because Marvel's hot and you have Activision, and you could just like bolster the Xbox library by being like, boom, here's some Game Pass fodder that's relatively cheap, super big fan servicey move, and fuck it, make it play anywhere while you're at it, and let us PC Xbox, ROG Ally motherfuckers even get a taste of this action. I mean, it feels like such a no-brainer move, and I feel like not necessarily this is happening, but there is some like story that is like adjacent or very close to this that may or may not happen by the time the 25th anniversary celebration happens in November. I'm still kind of holding out hope that maybe we get some Activision licensed games like a Transformers or a Spider-Man game sometime later this year or at some point before the Helix comes out, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm just trying to remain optimistic. But anyway, there is Deadpool. I never played it, but I remember I had friends who played it, and I remember just like watching the internet discourse surrounding the game. It seemed like it was, not like an amazing game, but it was a very competent third-person action game with some really clever and funny writing, which is pretty much all you need for a Deadpool game. So I'd like to play it. Let me, backwards compatibility and all that shit. Let's go, motherfucker. Anyway, guys, welcome to the Xbox On podcasts. I'm gonna be honest. This week we're gonna do it a little differently. We're going to start off with the two stories I'm like genuinely interested in talking about, and then we'll talk about the rest of the Xbox news, because honestly, the first two stories are, well, they're both Xbox related, but the Xbox news, which is all the stuff that happened in this Entertainment Weekly article that I'll be honest, I'm not super really enthused about anything we got out of it, although there is technically a lot here. I really just more so want to talk about Grand Theft Auto and the Steam Machine and stuff like that. So we'll kick off with those stories, but rest assured we will get into the more Xbox specific news. But before we do that, let's talk about some notable game releases. 2026 continues to be just an absurdly strong year for new games, and while the summer months are historically and notoriously, or maybe not notorious, depending on how badly you want game releases to slow down. Oops, sorry. There is one game coming out this week that I think is just absolutely worth mentioning, especially if you're on the Xbox, in the Xbox ecosystem. It just feels like an Xbox game, but that is Impulse, like Impulse, but with an E, Impulse, which is a new game from developer 1047 Games. I don't know if they say 1047 or if it's 1047, or it's probably 1047, but this is the developer behind, I guess somewhat now divisive, but formerly well-liked Splitgate series. Splitgate, which of course was released in 2019, and then its sequel, Splitgate 2, which was released last year and then unreleased and then re-released. And now they don't call it Splitgate 2. They call it something else. I don't remember. Anyway, Splitgate is, of course, that Halo meets Portal indie game that's pretty fucking good, actually. I played the first one a decent amount and really enjoyed it. And then by the time the second one came out, I was like, I didn't really need more of this, but this is their new game called Impulse, and the pitch behind this one is, all right, last time we did Halo meets Portal, now we're going to do Titanfall meets Call of Duty Black Ops 3. So it is a first-person competitive shooter, 6v6, team deathmatch, capture the flag, that kind of stuff, but it is very hyper-focused on movement, so like wall running, double jumping, things like that, what you could do in Titanfall or the more movement-based Call of Duties like Black Ops 3 or Advanced Warfare. And then on top of that, like Titanfall, it has Titans, although Cronky tells me Titans are treated more like a power, what am I trying to say? Like a weapon drop, like in Halo, like an arena shooter, and less like your perk or your kill streak thing that like unlocks after a time. So it's slightly different. But anyway, the general gist of the game is that it's like, hey, what if we did a 6v6 competitive multiplayer shooter that is spiritually inspired by games like Titanfall? And to me, on paper, that is more than enough. I love Titanfall. I yearn for Titanfall. I miss Titanfall. I will gladly give this game a try, even though while I love the advanced movement of games like Titanfall, I don't really love it in games like Call of Duty. I'm not a huge fan of the Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare kind of future sci-fi Black Ops games or Call of Duty games. But that being said, this game is too enticing to not give it some attention. Now, it's not out. It is in game preview as of the day I'm recording this, June 24th. Happy birthday, Cronky. And it is a Play Anywhere title, so of course, you know, for those of us with a ROG Ally, with a gaming PC, with an Xbox in the living room, it's a great investment for those of us looking for some fun multiplayer games to have anywhere and everywhere you play your Xbox content. But yeah, I mean, it's right now it's available in game preview. It's releasing at $20, but for the first week or so, it is on, you know, a lot of games will do like a little sale at early release just to kind of bolster sales. So right now, if you pick it up for the next week or so, it's only $15 instead of $20. So, hey, I think for $15, that's a fair deal. I went ahead and bought it. I've already got it downloaded, ready to go. I'm going to check it out this weekend. You know, I figure with the amount of time I put into, what am I trying to say? I almost said Portal, but I'm trying to say Splitgate. I feel like, hey, $15, it's the least I could do. Throw these guys a bone. 1047 games based out of Nevada, of all places, a state that we don't normally associate game development with, which is also cool. I like these guys. I want to support these guys. I know they kind of came in under some fire with some of the way they handled some Splitgate 2 stuff. I thought Splitgate 2 was entirely serviceable, but also entirely unnecessary. So it's very much like a Overwatch 2 scenario, where it's like, you could have just continued to evolve this one game as a platform. You didn't need a sequel. But anyway, that being said, this game does look pretty enticing to me, and I am definitely going to give it a try. So we'll talk about that next week, but that is the notable game that's releasing this week I wanted to go over. But with that said, let's hop right into the news because, listen, we're not going to just beat around the bush. Some big Grand Theft Auto 6 news. This game's really fucking happening. It's actually coming out. So let's hop right into the news. All right, guys. So late last week, after the podcast went live, there was some Grand Theft Auto 6 news. They're like, hey, on June 25th, Thursday, June 25th, pre-orders will go live for GTA 6 also. And then they announced, like, if you have the Xbox One or PlayStation 4 version of GTA 5, we're going to give you an ability to do a free upgrade to the PS5 or Series X version of the game at no additional cost. And that free update is already out. And it was like a cool little, like, little gimme, like, option for those who hadn't already upgraded for whatever reason. And then there was a little drama surrounding that because that was, you know, for digital, you could upgrade to the new console generation. But for PlayStation, it was like, if you have a physical copy of GTA 4 on PS4, you can upgrade for free to the PS5 version. However, if you have a physical copy of GTA 5 for your Xbox One, you're shit out of luck and you cannot get a free upgrade to the Xbox Series X and S version because fuck Xbox, I guess. And that's actually funny because that kind of affects me in that one of the very few Xbox games I have physically is Grand Theft Auto 5. But anyway, I whatever. I don't care. It's not like I was going to play this. We would normally get into that drama, but we don't really need to because that news is kind of small. You know, it's small potatoes or whatever it is they say out there in Chicago, compared to what we have now. Because as of the day I'm recording this, we got the news you guys really want to talk about. We got a price for GTA 6. We got more information about the deluxe edition of the game, and there is some juicy drama. So let's just hop right in. All right, if we just ripped from VGC, but you know what else? It's just prices. Take-Two have confirmed that the standard edition of Grand Theft Auto 6, the most anticipated game pretty much in history, will cost $80 US. That's right. $10 more than the standard $70 price tag on most modern AAA games. However, the Ultimate Edition of the game will be released for an additional $20 at $99.99 US. Pre-orders are live as of the day this podcast goes live, so June 25th. So go ahead and get your pre-orders in if you feel like you have to. There are some pre-order goodies for both versions of the game, so don't worry about that. If you are addicted to the pre-order stuff, they got you covered. However, now we get into some controversy. So there's 3 points of controversy. Point 1, the game is $80 instead of $70. Okay, put a pin in it. Controversy point 2, Rockstar has also confirmed that the physical version of Grand Theft Auto 6 will not include a disc at launch and will instead include a code in a box. Okay, there's controversy 2. If you buy the game digitally, you get a digital copy. If you buy the game physically, you get a download key for a physical copy. Welcome to Nintendo Switch fans' lives. All right, now let's get into controversy point 3. What really has people up in arms, however, is that the Ultimate Edition, the $100 edition of the game, will include, quote, an exclusive collection of premium vehicles, weapons, apparels, and action threaded across all aspects of Jason and Lucia's story. All right. So let's start off with that last one because that's the spiciest one, I think. People are super up in arms. And here's the thing. Actually, let me back up. Let's go in order. Here. I didn't want to lose the talking point that was in my head, but let's go in order. I think it will better serve the conversation. It may come as a surprise to you, I say with all sarcasm, but I personally, as someone who, not to say I know the economics of the video games industry, I most certainly don't. I am definitely way too stupid to know that. I am, however, fortunate enough to be not so stupid that I'm oblivious to the fact that games are absurdly expensive to make, and that Grand Theft Auto 6 is without a doubt the most expensive video game ever made. And it just, listen, man, do the basic math. Look at an inflation calculator. Use your brain for 2 seconds. $80 for Grand Theft Auto 6 is a fantastic deal. I just can't. I cannot feign frustration or controversy or fake outrage over this ongoing battle for people to just be so pissed about game pricing and, oh my God, $80 for Mario Kart. Oh my God, $80 for, like, I'll agree. Don't get me wrong. I'll agree. Outer Worlds 2 was not an $80 game. That was just Xbox showing their ass and showing their ineptitude, because by no means is that the game that Xbox has that, time, budget, and everything is going to justify an $80 price point. But listen, a game like Grand Theft Auto 6, if there is any game that deserves to break the mold and go above $70 per game, it's Grand Theft Auto 6. And I just, listen, man, it used to be, and I'm not going to pretend to be from this generation. I was born in 1995. I don't know what it was like growing up in the arcade scene. I don't know what it was like growing up with the fucking Famicom in your living room. That wasn't my upbringing. I'm not going to lie. But I am well aware that kids who grew up in the 80s and in the early 90s, absolutely, early 90s, I should say, the 80s and the 90s were mostly accustomed throughout those decades to a variable pricing structure for video games. You could go to a Toys R Us and Final Fantasy III would cost a completely different amount of money than Ninja Gaiden. This was just how it was. And not only was that the case, but games were absurdly expensive. There were games that were $100 in 1991 money, So it's like, for a game, for the biggest, most AAA, most high budget, most long in production, whatever, one of a kind experience game like Grand Theft Auto 6, for that to be $79.99 in today's world where a fucking $10 bill is only good for wiping your ass cheeks with, I just don't see how this is an outrage. It's like, listen, Is $80 a lot of money? Yes. Our time's tough and the economy's tough and people are struggling and your fucking government hates you and the world hates you and the corporations are out to make your life miserable. Yeah. But listen, gaming is not a necessity. It is a luxury hobby, and $80 is a very, very, very fair bargain for what you are getting in exchange. If we can assume that Grand Theft Auto 6 is anything like Grand Theft Auto 5, the amount of content, the amount of enjoyment, the amount of hard work, money, effort, detail, the staff size, the years, the pain, the sweat, the tears, all of it that went into making this game is well worth $80 fucking dollars. I just wasted an hour and a half of my life last week watching Toy Story 5 at the movie theater. I went to the cheapest movie theater in Central Florida that I could find. And for me, my girlfriend, and my girlfriend's little sister, we still paid $40 in movie tickets for the three of us to watch 90 minutes of Toy Story 5. Toy Story 5 was a bewildering mid out of 10, a 5.9 or 6.2 out of 10 if I ever fucking saw one. There was nothing impressive about it other than the animation is beautiful, but the movie was just such a fucking cash grab, so unnecessary, and that theater was jam fucking packed with motherfucking idiots with their 75 kids screaming and playing on their goddamn iPhones in the middle of the movie about how tech is killing us, and they were eating fucking $14 popcorn and sipping on $12 sodas and putting like $16 peanut M&Ms up their butthole. Like this is how people spend their money. And listen, I know the sentiment around the movie theater is, yo, movies are expensive, but like we understand, movies are expensive to make. Movie theaters are in a business that is not the healthiest. If you want to go see a movie at the theater and not wait for it to come to Disney Plus, you pay the fucking premium, you drive your ass down to the cinemas, and you watch the fucking movie. It's what you do. And if you want to wait 3 years for Grand Theft Auto 6 to be on fucking fire sale for $27 during the holiday season, you can do that. But considering that this game's been in development for 13 years or so, considering that this game's been worked on by like 1,000 plus people, considering that this game has more detail and scale and world building and just fucking shit jam-packed in its crevices compared to pretty much any game you've played in your lifetime, I just don't see how an $80 price tag is too much. I just refuse to get in on this whole like bitching and moaning. Now, no. Let's back up. I think there's no way you could argue that $80 is a bad value for Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, I do understand. I know Cronky's one of the people out there. So before you type in, let me finish what I'm saying. I know there are people out there who are like, yeah, it's not that Grand Theft Auto 6 isn't worth $80 and whatever. It's that this creates a precedent that encourages others to start charging maximum dollar for every game because they think they can get away with it. And I understand that argument, but you hope the market speaks for itself. I mean, after all, last year, Microsoft was like, oh, Mario Kart's $80? Well, so is Outer Worlds 2. And everyone said, like fucking hell it is. And that game did horribly. So like clearly there is, to some extent, even if it does sound a little idealistic, there is some rationale behind the thought that the market will kind of speak for itself. The thing is, it's like, listen, you guys know I'm a little bit of a cynic. I'm a little skeptical of anything a corporation does, but I like to think positively about the price scaling structure of things. I love the idea of like, there is no pricing standard. It's not that games are $60 or games are $80 or I should say that AAA games are $70, but indie games are $25, whatever it is. Like, I don't believe in that. I think the best path forward is a developer or a publisher, a developer, an independent developer, or a publishing arm that is, making these decisions. Evaluates the game, the product they have, and says, based on what we put into making this game, based on what we think we could sell it for reasonably, and based on the amount of self-fucking respect we have for ourselves and our labor, we think that this product is worth X amount of dollars. Honestly, the only one who's actually living this reality right now, Xbox to some extent, PlayStation to some extent, Nintendo really to a large extent. And I respect the hell out of it. I love that the Switch 2, 1 year in, has brand new AAA first party games like Mario Kart World, which is $80. But then the new Star Fox game that comes out actually as of the day this podcast goes live is only $50. And then, Metroid Prime 4 was $70, which is less than Mario Kart, but it's more than Star Fox. And Yoshi came out last month, and that was $60. So I love the idea of evaluating your game and saying, hey, this game only took us 3 years to make, or this game was made in Japan where it's cheaper to make games, or this game was made in California where it's outrageous to make games. Hey, this game is like a single player, pretty straightforward weekend game. You're going to pump 8 hours into it, roll the credits, and never play it again. Hey, this is a game you're going to play for the next decade of your life. It's Mario Kart. You're going to unlock all the shit. You're going to play it every time your friends come over. We're going to add DLC to it again and again and again throughout the next decade. I love the idea of publishers and developers being able to take into account the context, the budget, everything surrounding what goes into making the cake and pricing the game accordingly, because I think that is fair. And in a world where the games industry is in a very precarious place, I don't think the video games industry is about to crash, as some people say. I don't think video games are going away, but I do think it's a fucking shit time for games. Last week we were talking about, and what we'll probably be talking about in the next week or two, is how people at Xbox are losing their jobs left and right. If you want a healthy games industry, you have to fucking speak with your wallet. You have to be willing to say, yes, Grand Theft Auto is worth $80. Here is $80 in exchange for Grand Theft Auto. You have to be willing to say, oh man, I love that we can have smaller games that are priced lower because I know this is a game that, it only took a couple of years to make. It was made by a team of 60 people. I'm only going to play it for maybe 8 hours over the course of a weekend and never touch it again. Here is 40 or $50 to support that project. I think that encouraging that kind of behavior is one of the very few things we can do to help make the video games industry a little healthier, right? I don't know, I see people complaining about 007 First Light, which just came out, right? $70. Oh my God, you can beat the game in 11 hours. How is it $70? I don't like the argument of equating hours spent playing the game to dollars, price tag or whatever. I think that's a very reductive way to look at video games, but I do understand to some extent why that is where your brain might default to. But just still by that logic, it's I don't know, man, some movies are 90 minutes. Some movies are fucking 200 minutes. It's the movie ticket still costs $15 no matter which movie you see, so I don't really appreciate that logic. I think there's something to be said about this movie was made by 20 fucking teenagers with $500,000, and this movie was made by Disney by a bunch of slave labor on computers doing CGI for fucking 2.5 years straight, and everyone got fired after the project came out. It cost us an arm and a leg. That there's a difference between these projects, and I feel like that is true in games, and we just refuse to acknowledge it. I think the unfortunate reality is people bitching and moaning about the price of Grand Theft Auto 6 is indicative to the fact that the games industry is financially unhealthy, mostly because greedy corporations and shitty executives at the top of these companies make horrible decisions. Satya Nadella should not be legally allowed to run a business that has video games anywhere in its structure, because Satya Nadella is a fucking retard when it comes to video games. Phil Spencer, liked the guy a lot, really rooted for him. There were a lot of years where I really loved what he was doing. Clearly was not the right guy for the job, especially in that latter half of his tenure. And so, listen, those are the people who make the video games industry unhealthy and unfit. The penny pinchers, the motherfuckers out there at Sony going, what if we make all of our studios make a fucking Fortnite knockoff, cancel it before it gets announced, and then have no games to release this whole goddamn PS5 generation? Those are the people who are first in line to blame for the unhealthy nature and the current condition of the video games industry. Not the developers. It's these decision makers and these executives. So let me be perfectly clear about that. But I think the second group of people who are most responsible for an unhealthy games market, for games industry, it's the fucking consumers, man. It's these people who are like, oh man, this game has 70 fucking hours of content, and it costs $400 million to make. Oh man, I'm not going to buy that though until it's $17. Listen, do what you want to do. Like, I'm not saying you're a bad person for buying this game at that time or that game at that time. Like, do what you want. Be smart with your money. Like, I want to play that Pandora Avatar game one day. It's deep in my backlog, but I really do want to play it one day. I wasn't going to buy it for $70 when it came out because I knew I wasn't going to $70 love it. So, you know, I was like, whatever, one day I'll get it on fire sale and that's when I'll play it. So I'm not saying that you're a bad person if you do that. It's just like, we can't have that mentality about everything. Like, oh, Grand Theft Auto 6 should be, well, it should be $60 because games should never become $70, but it really shouldn't be more than $70 because no other game right now is $80. Like, that kind of logic is like it's showing your ass. It's saying, I'm ignorant. I don't understand how economics work. I don't understand how business works. I don't understand how anything works. And I have a tiny penis at the same time. And then, you know, on the contrary, you got people like me where it's like, you know, I'm not looking through the spreadsheets like a savant understanding the ins and outs, but I understand generally that these games got to make money. And I have a small penis. So what's your excuse? Anyway, we don't have to get into the pricing thing all that much beyond this. I think it's just fucking silly. I think $80 is completely reasonable for Grand Theft Auto 6, especially considering there were games that were $80 in 1991, which in today's money is like what, like $260 fucking dollars or something. Like, calm the fuck down, okay? Like, video games are affordable. They are cheap. At the end of the day, it's like, you think about the money you take home in a month. You pay your mortgage, you pay your rent, you pay your fucking car note, you pay your grocery bill. Maybe you got your kid even going to a fucking daycare. I don't know what you got going on in your life. You do what you got to do because you're an adult. And at the end of the month, you look at your money after you save, after you do the things you got to do, after you bought a new tire for the refrigerator or whatever the fuck, and you go, can I afford $80 this month to play Grand Theft Auto 6? And if you can't, you probably got some serious issues going on in your life, and you really shouldn't be on Reddit bitching and moaning about the price of Grand Theft Auto. And I feel for you because times are tough and I don't want anyone to struggle financially. As someone who grew up in a fucking, you know, poor household where things were pretty precarious during the 2008 recession, I'm not knocking poor people. I'm saying if at the end of the month, after you did all your things and you worked your ass off and you adulted or whatever millennials like to say, just ask yourself, is $80 going to kill you for Grand Theft Auto 6, a game you've been anticipating for over a decade? And if the answer is yes, don't go bitching about Rockstar and Take-Two and the pricing of their game. Maybe go to the fucking Help Wanted ads or something because you got bigger fish to fry. I just can't see. Like, listen, if you want to get up in arms about pricing, go fucking chop your government's heads off. Make the fucking people who run your country, make their heads roll because they're letting Chinese investors and BlackRock and fucking Airbnb buy up all the goddamn housing in your neighborhood so that you can't afford to own a home, so that you can't afford to raise your family the way you were raised. That's the kind of pricing thing that should be pissing you off. We just spent more on a fucking baseless war by some asshole president in like a few weeks, more than we spent in the first, what was it? It was something like during the entire like fucking I can't remember. I was watching something. They were talking about like the amount of money we've spent on missiles and equipment for this war in the past like 3 months in Iran is more than we spent during like the first, I don't remember what it was, like this first X amount of years of the Bush administration and all their war on terror, where, just as a reminder, the terror was the United States being terrorists going into other countries behaving like terrorists because the United States are a bunch of terrorists. So I just to be clear, it's like, I know I'm tripping over myself. I sound like a fucking idiot, but the point I'm trying to make is just that there are plenty of situations in this world where you should be livid. You should be livid that your fucking diesel's $5 a gallon. It's because your fucking asshole pedophile president started a war to distract from the fact that he's a fucking asshole pedophile. That should piss you off. Take-Two is charging you $80 to play a game they spent 13 years developing that's well worth $80. And let's be honest, half you motherfuckers are going to put 1,400 hours into this game over the next decade. Is $80 really that big a deal? I don't know, man. And just to be clear, because I know I love a rant. You guys know I love a rant. That's why I don't have a co-host. Co-hosts just get in the way of me ranting. But I just want to be clear. This is not like aggression directed towards the Xbox On audience. This is like just a fun, passionate rant because I don't know, if you're going to have a podcast, you might as well be able to scream and yell about it, you know? Anyway, so that's part one, right? The pricing thing, I think that is much to do about nothing, although clearly I have some thoughts because we're like 30 minutes in and I'm still talking about $80. Point two, we'll spend less time on this point. Again, I just don't care. I do not buy this argument that's like, well, people who live in Iowa have bad internet. How do you expect them to download Grand Theft Auto 6? It's like, frankly, if that is the life and times of a average American living in fucking Iowa, then maybe leave Iowa or just kill yourself. I don't know what to tell you at this point. Like, I feel like for the better part of 20 years, it's always been like, oh, but people in the Midwest don't have internet. It's like, that's not a real thing, dude. My dad lives in fucking Kansas. God, where does my dad live? My dad lives in Missouri now. He moved there a few years ago. He lives like outside of Kansas City in like the greater suburban part of the greater Kansas City area. And I've spent plenty of time out there the past couple of years visiting him. And first of all, Missouri is awesome. Kansas City is awesome. People in the Midwest are really fucking nice. But most importantly, the internet is fine out there. You can go to Walmart and buy shit. Their winters suck, but you can still buy video games at Target, and the internet is totally fine. I promise you, people in Idaho are jerking off just as much as you are. The internet's fine. So that's a stupid argument. And then people come out of the woodworks and they go, Jesse, it's not about the internet connection. It's about gaming preservation. Here's what I think about gaming preservation. I'm worried about Deadpool from 2013 being playable on my Xbox in 2026. I'm not worried about Grand Theft Auto 6, a game that's going to make $8.6 trillion the second it goes on sale. I don't want to hear it. I don't give a shit if you like having Blu-ray discs on your shelf. Deal with it. Download the fucking game. This is how things work, okay? Like, it's something like, if you look at like the Circana data, they don't even talk about it anymore, but for the longest time, it was always like, and as of this year, X amount of copies of games are sold digitally versus physically. And I remember in like 2014, it was like, oh wow, like 20% of games are sold digitally instead of physically now. And then like a year later, it was like, oh wow, 30%, oh 40%, or 50%. It was something like a year or two ago. There was something where it was like, yeah, 85% of video game copies sold for most of these fucking big budget games are sold digitally at this point. So it's like, listen, to the 6 of you in Iowa, that's a new state, Iowa, who can't afford Grand Theft Auto and don't have good enough internet to jack off, I am sorry, but when you go to Walmart to pick up your pre-ordered copy of Grand Theft Auto 6, unfortunately, you're gonna get a little slip of paper with a code on it. There's gonna be no disc in there, and I just honestly couldn't give a shit any less about what that means to anyone. Move on. Just move on. This is the thing about gaming that's so special. Is it's not like the only. I get the audio people. Who are like, listen, I know I'm a snob, but like, I prefer vinyl over Spotify because the audio quality you get from a vinyl record is just superior to what you get when you stream music digitally. It's like, okay, I don't personally care, but good for you. That is a reasonable point to make. And I could totally understand why there is a niche market of people who care about that. And then you go to film and it's like, listen, man, I know all the movies are just available on Netflix, but I buy Blu-rays because I want to have the highest quality video. I want the 4K whatever. I got the special player. I want the Dolby Atmos, and I want when fucking Nicolas Cage breathes, I want to feel like he's right behind me about to fucking suck my neck. I want to feel that. So it's like, okay, listen, I don't personally give a shit. I'll just stream the shit on Disney Plus. But I totally get why there's a niche market that gives a shit about physical media when it comes to film. Video games don't look or run any better whether you put the fucking disc in your Xbox or you download the game from the Xbox marketplace. It's the same stupid game. At the end of the day, you're doing the same thing. So I don't care. They're like falling back in love with Nintendo these past few years. It's like just seeing how the Nintendo community is constantly just bitching and moaning about, oh, it's a game key card. I'm like, you assholes are bitching and moaning about game key cards. I don't even know what a game key card is because I bought my Switch 2 and I have digitally downloaded every fucking game. For all I know, my Switch 2 has a defect and doesn't read physical media. I'll never know because I'm not going to put a fucking cartridge in there because I'm not an ape. Because when I go on an airplane, I don't bring 75 physical cartridges with me that I'm going to lose on the plane because I'm not 6 years old. Because I have a brain. My credit card is connected to my Nintendo account. And when Donkey Kong comes out, I hit the download button because I'm not a monkey. Donkey Kong is the monkey. And you're the monkey. Anyway, that's point 2. Shut up about pricing. Shut up about physical media. All right, let's move into point 3. Because this is the one where I think there is some validity. There's some reason to be upset. But the reality of it is and at the risk of sounding like a fucking corporate dick sucker here, I want to be clear. I half understand the outrage for this last part, and I half don't. And let me explain why. I totally see why people are frustrated over the idea that if you spend $20 more and you get the deluxe edition, you get access to things on the map that otherwise are not accessible to people who bought the $80 version of the game. That sounds gross. When you put it that way, the knee-jerk reaction is like, that's really messed up. You can't charge $80 for a fucking game and then say, sorry, you still didn't pay enough money to get access to everything the game has to offer. But that's not exactly what's happening, or it is, but it isn't. So for more context, because the official statement doesn't really put it this way, but what happens is if you get the deluxe edition or the ultimate edition or whatever for $100, yes, it's additional vehicles and outfits and tattoos and hats and things like that for your character, weapons for your character that you only get in the deluxe edition, which is so typical of deluxe editions. Pre-order and get the fucking bundle, get the deluxe edition and get the fucking skin that makes your character look like he's in the KKK, whatever, like that shit's as old as time at this point in video games. We're used to it, right? I think the reason why this feels different is it's not like if you buy the deluxe edition, you get a shirt that you don't get with a standard edition. It's like if you buy the deluxe edition, you get access to a store in the game where you can buy merchandise like this shirt, and that is blocked off to people who buy the deluxe edition. And I get it. That rubs me the wrong way too, the idea that like, and they didn't explain how it would work, but like, what does that mean? Like if I buy the game for $80 and I go to the t-shirt shop, is T-shirt Jimmy going to be like, oh, we don't do business with white people because you only spent $80 on the game? Assuming that the guy is a white guy. I don't fucking know. In the game, the guy you play as Jason, whatever his name is. Is that how it's going to go? Or is it going to be like you go up to the storefront and it won't let you enter? It's like a facade, but it's not like an actual building you can interact with. How's it going to work? Or is it going to be like, you go into the building and it lets you walk in and then you go to the counter to make a purchase. But when you do, it pops up with the Xbox Marketplace and it's like, upgrade to the deluxe edition for only $20 more. Like, how is it going to work? I don't know. But I understand that on first blush, the idea of it being like, hey, I see this store on my map, but I can't go there because I bought the $80, not the $100 version of the game. Like, that rubs me the wrong way. That sounds bad. And the unfortunate thing is I kind of see why they chose to do it that way. And here's why it doesn't mean I respect it. It doesn't mean I appreciate it or I defend it. It just means I think I know what their logic was. And I just think it's interesting to maybe go down that path. So here's what I'm thinking. Listen, if you make a game these days, whether it's fucking Far Cry or Close Cry or No Cry, whatever game you're making, it's like, oh, buy the deluxe edition and get a charm of, fucking Charlie Kirk that you can put on your gun or whatever, It's like, oh, okay, cool. In 2014, it was like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to pre-order. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to get the Ultimate Edition. In 2017, it was like, there's a decent audience of people who are like, oh, cool, I'll do that. And then there was an audience of people like me who are like, I don't give a shit. I don't need the Charlie Kirk charm for my gun, whatever. And then in 2022, it was like, oh, great. You got to get the deluxe edition if you want to get the charm of Charlie Kirk to put on your gun. So creative, so original. I don't care. I wonder if Take-Two looks at this and says, listen, this is a tried and true formula, but it's also like the consumer is used to it. So there is less incentive for those like Fence Rider customers to go for the Ultimate Edition as opposed to the Standard Edition, because they're used to, after years and years of being baited with these kinds of bonuses, they're used to saying, whatever, I bought the Deluxe Edition of Call of Duty that one year. I didn't really give a shit about the special skins I got. Oh, I bought the Deluxe Edition of Ghost of Tsushima. I didn't really give a shit about the fucking ninja sword I got or whatever the hell. So I think they're thinking, well, if we do ostensibly the same concept, you get extra shirts and cars and guns and skins, right? But we make it more of a interactive way of getting those things, like, oh, you get access to the store that sells exclusive merch only available for this version of the game. It's like, it's really, at the end of the day, it's the same fucking thing. It's just paraded and it's masqueraded in a different way that makes it like feel more enticing, because now it's not just cosmetic items that are blocked off for the expensive version of the game. It is an in-game experience that feels gated off from people who bought the standard edition. And that kind of changes everything. So on the one hand, I get why people are frustrated, because I too get rubbed the wrong way by that news off like the first knee-jerk kind of hearing of that idea. But when you really consider that, at the end of the day, it's not like, oh, this mission's exclusive to this version of the game, but you have to pay extra money if you want to get the third act of the campaign. That's not what they're doing. It's just, if you want to get the t-shirt that says, you know, Osama bin Laden was right all along, and wear it around Florida, you got to spend the $100 instead of the $80. It's like, okay. It's like, for me, again, it's kind of a non-problem, because for me, I would never buy the $100 version of the game. I don't need my gun to be pink or to have a fucking like, Shania Twain lyric written on the side of it. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. I don't need a Dominic Toretto skin for my Dodge Challenger. Like, I'm good. I'm good with the base game, and I'm never going to customize my character. Let's be fucking honest. When I play Grand Theft Auto 6, I'm going to keep my character looking however the fuck they look when I start the game, and I'm just going to blast through the story missions and be done with it. So for me, it doesn't really matter, but I do understand why it matters for other people, and I do understand how it is a little concerning, because it maybe starts a precedent that people don't like. Now, here's something interesting. I saw some people saying, well, you know, to combat this, in 2018, when Rockstar put out Red Dead Redemption 2, there was an additional heist mission, like an actual game mission that was locked behind the Ultimate Edition of the game. And I did not remember that. So sure enough, I looked it up, and there it was. Yeah, if you bought the deluxe edition of Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018, you got a special heist mission that does not come with a standard $60 version of the game. So, you know, I don't remember in 2018 people being like up in arms with pitchforks about that. But to me, that's kind of worse, because it's like Grand Theft Auto 6 is saying, yeah, there's a special store in the game where you can buy t-shirts with fucking Adolf Hitler quotes on the back of them, and you have to have the special edition to get it. But that's an improvement over, we have single player content, story driven missions, gameplay content that is blocked off unless you buy the special edition. So when you put it that way, I'm like, well, fuck, I'll take this over that any day. You know, this sounds like an improvement. I don't know. To me, this still falls in the category of, I don't care, much ado about nothing, whatever. But the internet is going to internet, and they are going to get all up in arms and pissy about this. And so I understand, and I am a little bit sympathetic, just because the approach to doing this is a little slimy, even though at the end of the day, what they're really doing is the same thing every video game does. Give us more money and we'll make your character look stupid for more money, you know? And that's the funny thing, is like, the skins always make your character look stupid. It's like, you know, Call of Duty comes out and they're like, for $70, you can get the game and your guy looks like he's in the military. Or for $100, we'll give you the game and your character looks like he's a stupid fucking space cyber ninja in the middle of an Afghan war. It's like, okay, I'll save my $20. Thank you. I don't know, man. Whatever. I know Cronky is very adamant that this game is probably going to, is likely to do worse than I am expecting, just based on the fact that there's so much anticipation. This game can't possibly live up to the hype, but I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I think this game is worth $80, and the majority of people probably agree. I think the majority of people are going to buy this game digital and don't give a shit about the disc inside the case. I think the majority of people don't give a shit about the Charlie Kirk charms you can put on your guns. I think the majority of people are going to buy Grand Theft Auto 6. The majority of them are probably going to buy the $80 version of the game, and the majority of them are going to say that game fucking rocks. And that's going to happen, and this game's going to make a shit ton of money, and the world's going to keep on fucking turning around and around and around. That is my speculation, but Cronky did write in, and to Cronky's, you know, to be fair, Cronky wrote this comment about Grand Theft Auto 6 like 5 days ago, and this news broke today. So this is a comment from Kroenke before the knowledge of this price and these features and things like that. He says, one thing we've disagreed on is GTA 6's potential for failure. The reason I think it can fail, is how long it's been since a Grand Theft Auto game was made. I don't think the long gap is good for any game franchise. I think it's really bad, actually. Now, the actual point is here. I think Elder Scrolls 6 is doomed. I think they are starting from scratch in terms of mainstream hype. I think they've lost all the benefit of being a follow-up to Skyrim. Both Rockstar and Bethesda are case studies in mismanagement, especially Bethesda. I think we are going to see a studio that had everything going for it crash and burn. I think I actually don't disagree with your take on Elder Scrolls 6 and Bethesda. I think after Fallout 4 being very successful, but critically a little bit of a underwhelming experience, all the way to all the frustrations people have with like Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online for years and years and years. And then finally, here's Starfield. And I love Starfield, but I know a lot of people don't love Starfield. And just now we're going to get to Elder Scrolls 6. I agree. You've waited so long. There's been so much burnout from your audience over the years with everything else you've done in the time since Skyrim that I think the expectations are impossible to meet, and you're already a studio that has a reputation for having peaked and not being able to replicate the success you once had. So I do agree that that is the situation Bethesda finds themselves in. I just don't agree that that's the situation that Rockstar finds themselves in. I think Rockstar has never put out a game that has pissed people off, except for that GTA 3, 4, 5, whatever collection, that GTA 3 San Andreas Vice City collection that they did a few years ago, that weird port studio from South Florida put together, and it was like super buggy and fucked up, and apparently there was that one glitch where as you would drive, the tires on your car would just get bigger and bigger for no reason. Like that's a different story for a different time. But, you think about it, for the most part, Grand Theft Auto 3 came out. People loved it. GTA Vice City came out. People loved it. San Andreas came out. People loved it. Grand Theft Auto 4 came out. People loved it. Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. People loved it. Grand Theft Auto 5 came out again. People loved it. Grand Theft Auto's been fucking on the top of the sales charts every goddamn month for the last 13 years. People fucking love it. I don't think it's the same thing because I think Elder Scrolls is out of sight, out of mind for most mainstream consumers. Like when Elder Scrolls 6 gets announced, your casuals will show up. But Grand Theft Auto 6 has been out of sight, but not out of mind by any means. It has been 13 years since we've seen one of these games come out. It has not been 13 years since people have talked about, yearned for, played previous entries in anticipation of. People want Grand Theft Auto. People talk about Grand Theft Auto. People that you don't think know anything about video games know about Grand Theft Auto. It is a different beast. And I think it's not the same thing because Skyrim and Elder Scrolls 6 are gapped by a bunch of disappointing games. Fallout 4, Starfield, Fallout 76, these kinds of things. But Grand Theft Auto 5 and 6 are gapped by 13 years of extensive support, extensive fan-loved support for Grand Theft Auto 5. And yes, there was Red Dead Redemption 2 in the middle of that, which was another critically adored game. But it was 13 years of GTA 5 is great, GTA 5 is great, GTA 5 is great. Oh, here's GTA 6. People are tired of waiting. They're antsy for GTA 6, but they have been well fed and they have kept Grand Theft Auto in their good graces during this time. So I do not think they're walking into the same situation, despite the fact that they find themselves in the similar situation of being games with very long awaited sequels and very long waits between games. So I personally don't agree with what you're saying, Kroenke, but I do see why you would think that. And I do see where your logic tracks on that. Curious to see if your opinions have changed at all now that we have this news that we do have on Grand Theft Auto 6. I still think this is going to be one of those loud minority situations, like how everyone was like, Switch 2 sucks, Mario Kart, oh my god, $8 is bullshit, blah, 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 blah. And then lo and behold, Nintendo last June was like, oh my god, these Switch 2s are flying off the shelves. We sold 20 million units. Hideo Kojima is fucking smoking a cigarette, even though he doesn't even work here. That's racist. That's just a Japanese name, So like, I think GTA 6 is going to be a very similar story where it's like, ah, man, everyone said this game was going to fail. Everyone was pissy about the fact that when you open up the plastic box, you get a piece of paper with the download code. But the game still made $8.6 trillion in 24 hours, So I am anticipating that being the case. But who knows? I don't really know a whole lot of shit. So maybe you're right and I'm wrong. We shall see. But I do look forward to seeing what y'all think about where we are. I mean, listen, the one thing that's got to be said, this is very real. Grand Theft Auto 6 is very real. We have pricing, we have pre-orders, we have trailers. They're They're sticking to this date and doubling down on it. It's really happening. In a few short months here, Grand Theft Auto 6 will be out and to the public. And I can't wait for a couple of reasons. One, because I am a little curious to play it. I am a little excited to play it myself. I will be there to play it this fall. But most importantly, number two, because once Grand Theft Auto 6 comes and goes, we can all move on with our fucking lives and talk about literally anything else. So I'm excited about that. Next, let's keep the conversation of pricing going forward. I don't think I have nearly as much to say about this one, but it is a big deal with real implications for Xbox. And that is that this week, after a long 8 months or so of speculating and waiting and yearning, Valve has finally cut the silence and said, hey, here is the Steam machine. Here are the prices. Go ahead and, sign up for the chance to be put into a queue to buy one of them. Here you go. And I don't know what people were expecting, but I actually think this is kind of in line with what I was expecting. So I'm not sticker shocked, although I am sticker shocked because these prices are important. But here are the 4 flavors you can get the Steam machine in. The new Steam console box thing that can compete with your PlayStation or Xbox. There are 2 models, a 512 gigabyte model and a 2 terabyte model, but you can get each of those models with 2 configurations. You can do 512 gigs with no controller or with controller, and then same thing for the 2 terabyte with or without controller. So let's talk about the lowest and the highest price, basically. So you can buy this thing with no controller and a 512 gigabyte hard drive for $1,050 US. You can also buy it on the most expensive end with a 2 terabyte hard drive and a controller included in the box for $1,428 US. I mean, oh my God. Hey, if we're just looking at the box and you don't care about the controller, you're going to use your Xbox controller, or maybe you already bought a Steam controller last month or whatever. Sure. You're looking at either $1,050 for the 500 gig or 2 terabytes will run you $1,350. That is a lot of money. And listen, Steam, I love Valve. They're so transparent. I love the way they communicate. They're basically just like, yeah, this is significantly more expensive than what we wanted to come in at. This price jump is kind of similar with what we just did with Steam Deck. Basically, based on what they're saying, you can assume that this is the price that this device was supposed to be, minus $200-$300. My guess is that originally these were probably going to be $750 and $900 or something like that. Like 512 gigs would be somewhere in the $700 range. And then 2 terabytes would be somewhere in the 900 to 1,000 range. And so, yeah, we're paying a huge premium on these boxes because AI fucking sucks, because data centers are a thing, because our government is so hell-bent on propping up these AI companies, because if they fail, the stock market fails, and our government doesn't give a shit about your kids, your safety, your health, your well-being, your living situation, your job. They just care about the fucking stock price and nothing else. So that is why you get the great honor of overpaying should you choose to buy a Steam machine. But Jesse, this isn't a Steam podcast. This is an Xbox podcast. Okay. Well, what does this mean for, the Xbox Project Helix? What does this mean for the PlayStation 6? Recent rumors suggest that PlayStation is very seriously considering delaying the PlayStation 6 from 2027 all the way out to 2029 now. And I would be honestly pleased if that were the case, as well as if Xbox were to follow suit and do something similar. I don't think Xbox will delay that much. I think Xbox wants to beat PlayStation to the punch next generation, even though I don't think it's going to do shit for them. I still appreciate the spirit of it. But I mean, maybe Xbox Helix gets delayed from 2027 into maybe 2028 over a similar type of thing. But like, you got to imagine with what we're seeing happen with hardware prices right now for consumer electronics, it is very possible that, the Xbox Helix is a $1,000 plus box. I mean, it's supposed to be significantly more expensive than the Steam Machine. It will also come with a controller, as Xbox consoles do, and all the rest, all the bells and whistles. Now, Xbox has more hardware buying power than Steam because they're more of a hardware manufacturer, but Xbox is a very, very, very small hardware manufacturer in the grand scheme of things. PlayStation has a lot more bargaining power than Xbox does, but even they are a relatively small player in the grand scheme of things. I mean, you want to talk about big players? We're talking fucking Apple. I don't know, Apple maybe, but Apple was just talking about, hey, like, guys, iPhone's going to be pretty fucking expensive this year. Buckle up, So this is not going anywhere. This is not changing for any of these manufacturers. If Apple can't circumnavigate the price hikes for memory and all the rest because OpenAI is actively trying to make your life worse every single day, then what makes you think the Xbox is going to be safe? Because they aren't. I mean, Microsoft just announced new Surface hardware, a new Surface Pro and Surface laptop the other week, and they are by far the most expensive Surface laptops and Surface Pro devices that have ever been made. They are very expensive, so much to the point where they are kind of advertising and really pushing last year's model. I mean, you could almost see, and I've started to see people kind of talk about this, and I've had the similar thoughts. I think it's a little bit of perhaps either a tinfoil hat type of thing, or maybe even just a natural speculation based on an inability to comprehend where we go from here. But you can imagine that maybe Xbox intentionally releases an Xbox Helix, or PlayStation intentionally releases a PlayStation 6 designed with the intention of, we know it's expensive. We've manufactured very few of them. We know most people won't buy it or upgrade to this device. This is a niche device so that we can say we're moving hardware forward so that our most loyal and hardcore consumers can buy this if they want it. And in the meantime, we'll use the overpriced nature of our new hardware to incentivize and entice people to continue to adopt and engage with our previous generation of hardware. So maybe the idea of an Xbox Helix, even though they ultimately want you to go in that direction of what that hardware will be, is to say, oh, you don't like the Xbox Helix because it's $1,500? Well, here's the Xbox Series X. It's kind of, in a way, with different intentions, a little bit of a Don Matrix move. We have an Xbox for people who can't afford the Xbox Helix. It's called the Xbox Series X. Unfortunately, that could be an approach. And not necessarily the worst one in this situation, because I think I speak for a lot of people when I say, definitely for myself, this is true. I'm completely satiated with where hardware is right now. I love my Xbox Series X. Games look and run great on it. I just beat 007 First Light, and all I could think of the whole time was, wow, this game looks and runs so great. Why the fuck would I need to buy another box to make games look even better than this? This is good. We're good, I don't know. It's like getting greedy. It's like dating a girl who's like really pretty, and you're just like, oh, this girl's really pretty. Wonder if I could do better. And then breaking up with your girlfriend to try to get with like a freaking supermodel, and then the supermodel says no and rejects you, and then you're like, ah, shit. And then you go back to your ex-girlfriend, and she's like, no, fuck you, dude. You broke up with me. And you're like, ah, that's what you get for being greedy. So weird comparison, but it's just like, I don't know, man. The Xbox Series X is so good. Do you really need to ditch it and go for the French supermodel? Do you really need to go try and get the Xbox Helix? Is it really going to be that much better? Or is Xbox Series X really all you need? And I just think that maybe these companies will realize that in a world where they can't buy their way to the table and negotiate better rates for the RAM and all the parts that are driving costs up in hardware, I wonder if they are going to look at it that way and then start to market and build their hardware business around betting on that kind of thing. Betting on like, hey, here's the new thing. It's expensive, isn't it? Well, we got news for you. The old thing is still being sold. It's really great. It's still going to hold up and do great for you. And then you're just kind of developing new hardware to intentionally have something to juxtapose with old hardware and use to incentivize future purchases. Again, that could be a very, very tinfoil hat kind of read on the situation. I'm aware of that, but I think that it is highly likely that if this shit keeps going for another year, another 2 years, whatever, like it's been going, which I suspect it will, because call me a cynic, call me a negative person, but I don't know. I've been alive for 31 years, and in my lifetime, the economy, politics, everything, it's just kind of always been in a constant state of getting worse. I mean, the world is always getting worse, and not for me, like for other people. Like, I mean, my life's good, dude. I got 2 cats. I got not 1, but 2 cats. My life's good. But like, you think about like all the people who have less than you, who struggle more than you. It's like, dude, this fucking world has only gotten worse over time. That's not like me living in a bubble looking at my time on this earth. It's like, no, it's just objective truth. Again, I was born in 1995. You cannot convince me we're in a better place now than we were in 1995. Bring back the Backstreet Boys. All right. I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it for now. I'm kind of putting it off. I'm being honest. I kind of lingered on Grand Theft Auto for so long because I'm just going to level with you guys. I don't care about what we're about to talk about. I really don't give a shit. All right. Entertainment Weekly did this whole like blowout cover story thing with Xbox. Oh, 25 years of Xbox. It kind of feels very much like a fucking PR kind of thing where it's like Xbox is like, oh, we want to talk to a major outlet that's not a video games outlet. PlayStation does this a lot with like GQ and stuff. Xbox, I guess, chose Entertainment Weekly, and they're like, oh, let's do a whole fucking series of interviews with lots of notable people at Xbox, and let's talk about a whole wide array of topics that pertain to Xbox. And so what I've done here, I went through this Entertainment Weekly article. It's a long one. Go online and look it up, read it yourself. I don't give a shit. And I basically just took screenshots of like block quotes and paragraphs where I'm like, that might be interesting to talk about. Let's get into that, because I mean, they cover everything from like quotes from Asha Sharma on the cost of gaming to like updates on Hideo Kojima's new game OD for Xbox. Like, I mean, it's talking about Minecraft movies and things like that. It's a wide array of topics. So let's just kind of hop right in like in order of appearance. And start with this. So let's talk about film stuff first. It says here, a Minecraft movie inspired by the massively popular sandbox game from Mojang Studios became the 5th highest grossing movie of 2023. Fallout, adapted from Bethesda's widely popular video game series, is the 2nd most watched TV series on Amazon after concluding its 2nd season this past February. Speaking in late May from New Zealand, director Jared Hess is now 4 weeks into filming a Minecraft sequel titled Minecraft Movie Squared. Kirsten Dunst, known, of course, as Mary Jane in the good Spider-Man movies, joins the cast as Alex, the primary female avatar of the game, alongside Jack Black, Jason Momoa, Danielle Brooks, and Matt Berry, along with others. Death Stranding's film is... Yeah, sorry, ignore that last part there. So yeah, they talk about, hey, here's the new Minecraft movie. I think they had already announced the name for it. I don't think that's new news, but they talk about it here, and so they're like, hey, my Xbox is very much getting into diversifying their business by getting more and more into film and TV, and they're experiencing a lot of success in that realm, so they touch on that. But moving forward with that, they say, over in the Fallout region, Amazon is moving swiftly ahead on a Season 3 with Aaron Paul, a Fallout fan from way back, per Todd Howard, the head of Bethesda Game Studios, now joining the cast alongside Ella Purnell, Walter Goggins, goddammit, Aaron Moten, Emily Mortimer, Manny Jacinto, Jacinto, and Tomasin McKenzie. Howard confirms, this is Todd Howard, confirms that pre-production is underway on a Season 3 and is going to start shooting soon. No surprise there. We talked about the end of Season 2 hitting we're going to new places, said Howard. So one of the things that we all love about Fallout is the geography of the world and being able to show some new things in the Fallout world that I think will surprise people that they've never seen before in the games. As for those new adaptations, Matt Booty and his people provide some key updates waiting on. So we'll get into that. That's when it starts to get interesting. So starting off with the boring stuff, basically just TV and movies. Season 3 of Fallout in production. Minecraft movie sequel in production. Kirsten Dunst cast in the Minecraft movie. I don't fucking care. You see what I'm saying? This Entertainment Weekly stuff. It's a lot more like a PR piece, like an Xbox rollout PR blowjob thing than it is like actual news. But let's continue on because I promise it does get more interesting. Starting with this next piece. So we actually wrap up the movie and TV segment with news of two movie TV related items that we don't already have. Netflix has announced a live action Gears of War movie from director David Leitch, the Fall Guy or Bullet Train, he's known for those, and writer John you gotta get better names, guys. Can you just be called like John Smith or something? The guy behind Doom Part 3. Entertainment Weekly can exclusively reveal that the film will tell the origin story of Delta Squad, a ragtag crew of soldiers who wage a desperate war for survival against the Locust, a race of subterranean creatures set on destroying humanity, according to the official description. The game really is about the bonds between teams. It's about the brotherhood at its core, Booty, says Matt Booty. When you go to visit the studio, the Coalition, of course, their tagline is never fight alone. So when you think about that for a dramatic narrative, it's a pretty good starting point. So great. They're going to tell an intimate story about a squad of brotherly soldiers. Entertainment Weekly can also report that Sea of Thieves will be developed into a live-action movie. Marvel filmmaker Destin Daniel Cretton, super excited. That is the guy that wrote and directed Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings in 2021, and more recently is directing the upcoming Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I cannot wait for. He will be producing through his company, Hisako Films. A director is not yet attached to this project, but Sea of Thieves as a live-action movie is in the works. I actually think that's not a bad one. Quote, the main character of a Sea of Thieves game is actually the player in the community, says Matt Booty. So if you can sit down and think about a Sea of Thieves, it's not who is the main character, what's the plot. It's a super social game, but there's a tone to Sea of Thieves. It's built on a very cooperative community. So you can start to sense what that's going to be like. Other known adaptations include animated series based on Gears of War, Minecraft, both for Netflix, a live-action Wolfenstein show on Amazon, a Fallout Shelter reality competition now filming. That's ridiculous. So this is news. This is lots of new news dropping left and right. So we knew that there was going to be some Gears of War movie being made. But we didn't, I don't know or remember if we knew that there was a Gears of War animated Netflix show being made, but a Minecraft show for Netflix, that's all new. Wolfenstein at Amazon, I believe that's new. I'll be honest with you, I'm actually kind of hyped for that. I think Wolfenstein would be a fantastic, campy, actiony, bloody, R-rated show to do for Amazon. I actually really welcome that. So that's actually cool. And Fallout Shelter has a reality competition series that feels like some Netflix fodder, is it cake type bullshit if I've ever heard of it. But I really want to linger on the Sea of Thieves thing, because even though I don't think Sea of Thieves lends itself to film, because again, it doesn't centralize on any kind of specific narrative or characters. I do love the idea of pirate movies. I want another Pirates of the Caribbean. I love the vibe and the tone of Sea of Thieves. And I think if we can get a fun pirate movie, gosh darn it, I'll take it any day. So even though I'm not completely convinced that they've got this one in the bag, I do just like the idea of adapting Sea of Thieves to film, because I want to see cool pirate movies on the big screen. And that is selfishly why I give a shit about that. But yeah, I mean, it looks like there's a lot of moving and shaking when it comes to Xbox properties in TV and movies. And that's all great and well and good, but it's not going to fix Xbox. So let's keep going and seeing what else they have to talk about here. All right. So this is, So here are some snippets from Asha Sharma when she's her quotes and her parts of this whole story, where she says, "We've got over 20 franchises that have made billions of dollars lifetime." This is actually Booty. Matt Booty recognizes of the game under their umbrella. It feels like a lot of responsibility to shepherd that. We're the stewards of that IP. We're not the owners, because really the community owns those. That's a lame fucking response. But Asha Sharma clarifies, "You won't see us try to become the biggest linear provider in the world of anything like that. But I think great games are culture, and culture is entertainment. If you think about it, we've got the number 2 show on Amazon of all time with Fallout. We've got Minecraft as the top 5 grossing films in 2025. Call of Duty is bigger than the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it all measures. There's more appetite to work with us on titles than ever before." Funny enough, Call of Duty has been promised on and off a cinematic movie universe for so goddamn long that I've completely forgotten about it. Listen, this is the second time I think we see Xbox start to talk about like in under this new administration, hey, we have this big IP, we need to get to work on it. And in fact, they even get into that right here. And here we get some quotes about Bethesda. So Elder Scrolls 6, the latest installment from the Skyrim saga, still ranks high in terms of most anticipated titles. However, Todd Howard says it's our biggest project right now. That's the majority of the studio is working on. We now need to get it right, and we know it's been a long time. That's not really all that exciting to hear you say, because I mean, you better be fucking working on this game. I mean, what other excuse do you have at this time? It's only been forever long at this point. So I don't know. It feels like a kind of a nothing sandwich of an update. But here's where it gets more exciting, because Todd Howard does give us an update on Marvel's Blade being developed, of course, by Arcane. So it says here, another game is Marvel's Blade, the game based on the half-vampire Daywalker from the comics, made famous by Wesley Snipes' rendition of on the big screen in the early 2000s. Quote, I'm not at liberty to say when we'll see more, says Todd Howard, but I saw some stuff just yesterday, and this was as of like mid-May, and the folks at Arcane are doing a really great job. So assuming that this is not lip service, assuming that this was not said before Asha and the team decided to cut the axe on Arcane, that is the rumor that they're one of the studios that's going to get cut or budget cut or whatever. I mean, who knows? Because you can release a game, you can reveal a game like Senua and then get shut down 2 seconds later. So who fucking knows? But it sounds like, based on that quote, that maybe Blade still is alive, that maybe Arcane is going to stick around and not get shut down. It's somewhat of a promising update, I suppose. But let's continue on with the next update here. Sophia Lillis, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. That was a movie a few years ago. Hunter Schafer from the show Euphoria, and the late Udo Kier from The Flesh of Frankenstein, I don't know that one, represent the 3 main characters in Kojima's upcoming game OD, a new kind of horror game made in collaboration with Jordan Peele, the Oscar award-winning film maker behind Get Out. I love Jordan Peele in my head is just like what's his fucking name, Bryan Cranston, because not because they're anything alike. I mean, they're not. They're Hollywood guys, so maybe actually, I don't know. But Bryan Cranston, I know him so well from the show Malcolm in the Middle, because all my life I've been watching Malcolm in the Middle on repeat forever. So that show is so I watched that show probably 2 days ago. I watched that show religiously. Malcolm in the Middle is a very, very big part of my life in terms of visual entertainment. I've just seen that show so much. So I've always wanted to watch Breaking Bad. I know I would love that show. I know it's a great show. I believe people when they say it's a great show. I just can't bring myself to watch it, because I don't want to see Bryan Cranston as Walter White and see him become something other than the goofy dad from Malcolm in the Middle. I have a very similar thing with Jordan Peele. I know his movies are beloved and everyone's like, oh, you got to see Get Out. It's so good. Oh my God, Jordan Peele is such an amazing director. I believe it. I'm sure I would love those movies or his movies, but I can't bring myself to watch his movies because he's always just going to be the funny guy from Key and Peele in my head. So I'm just like, no, I fucking watching the movie. No, I'm not going to watch the movie. But anyway, that's a huge aside. So we're talking about OD, Hideo Kojima's Xbox project that's been teased and rarely shown for so long at this point. But let's continue on. So a scan was completed of Kier prior to the actor's death in November of 2025. I don't know how I feel about that. But the team couldn't make an actual shoot happen in time. Kojima Productions declines to share more information on Kier's involvement in the game, though filming has now properly begun with the actors on OD. It's difficult even now for Kojima to talk about what the game is without giving it away. But the title speaks to the concept, which is to get the player to overdose on fear. I didn't know that by the title. I thought it was about drugs. So there we go. Quote, I want to do something new. I want to do something different, says Kojima. I had this OD concept since I was working on Death Stranding 1, and I was working on it just by myself. I can't reveal much detail, but it's something that no one has ever seen before, a new game system. Well, considering that Death Stranding was also a new game system, I believe him. And I am very curious about this game from that perspective, because even though I haven't always been the biggest fan of Hideo Kojima's projects, I do really respect and appreciate his creativity and his unique approach to gaming. And so if he's making a horror project that is a very unique new type of game, I'm on board. I'm interested, especially if it's an Xbox game, because I will blindly and disproportionately love anything that comes to Xbox. Anyway, he says, or it says, details on the concept remain top secret, but it's clearly ambitious and potentially revolutionary. I pitched to many people, to the big companies, and also to the up-and-coming companies. All of them said the same thing, Kojima recalls. They said I'm crazy, and they said that they don't really understand the concept, and that they will not be able to do it. It was Phil Spencer, the former Xbox CEO and a friend of the creator, who understood what he was trying to achieve. So does Asha Sharma, who calls it a deeply moving game. I've got the great artists and creatives that can pick up a great game better than I can, and so I want to give it space, but more importantly, I just want to represent another kind of game. Kojima expertly teases, saying, quote, I wanted to go beyond the limit of the scariness that other games had reached. It's a single player game, and I wanted to make it as scary as possible. But for those that might stop playing when it gets too scary, I have thought of a system that will allow them to keep going. I can't say much more because it'll give too much of a hint on the system, and I could get in trouble for saying too much. A game like OD tells Sharma that Xbox has, quote, not reached the boundary of games. She says, no shit. And therefore, we need to make sure our platform is sufficiently open to more creators and developers so that they can come on board and be successful, because the next Kojima is yet to be known. Okay, more PR talk. Listen, I take all of this as a red flag. I just want to be clear. Like, I am excited for this game. I'm interested in this game. I think it's cool that Xbox greenlit this game. I'm glad it's happening. I think this game is probably going to be way too niche and way too over budget to justify its existence. I think this is a money, not a money trap, a financial failure just waiting to happen. And the fact that this project hasn't been canceled is ridiculous considering the kind of talent they're about to bleed. However, that being said, obviously this was never about making money off of this game. This was always about, wow, Phil Spencer was able to pull off I got Hideo Kojima to do an Xbox thing, which is always what this was about. And so I think they've always been putting money aside, pumping this game up, even though whatever it ends up being, because they don't really describe it as a game. They kind of describe it more as like an experience, or that's how they kind of were describing it. So it seems like to some extent this is going to be some short little experience thing, although this is the first time they've talked about it in a way that kind of suggests it is a video game. So maybe it's evolved into something that's more of a proper video game, which would be nice. I very much do look forward to getting a proper reveal, a proper trailer, a proper look at what this game is going to be, because I'm so tired of all the hinting and grunting and moaning about like, oh, it's going to be awesome. Oh, we got this guy working on it. Oh, we got that. I didn't realize one of the main actors passed away before they even recorded their parts. So that's also another obstacle to overcome. But yeah, this is a game where, listen, I don't think they're going to get the plug pulled on it, because I'm sure there are people talking to Asha's ear that's like, hey, if you get Hideo Kojima, you don't fucking piss him off. You don't mess with his thing. You just let him do his thing, and then we'll never work with him again once the game comes out, flops, and then we put it on PlayStation so we can sell it there. Like, when that inevitably happens, I think that's when you cut the ties. You go, hey, it was great doing business with you, Kojima. We're going to move on and do something else now. This is a one and done. This was just to get, because at the time this deal was inked and signed and announced, it was about the FU moment of like, Xbox got a Hideo Kojima game, but clearly this is a game that is currently in development that is indicative of an era where Xbox's strategy is very different from where it is today, because today the Xbox strategy is, we are going to put everything on PlayStation to make money because we are in financial trouble. Just kidding. Gears of War's exclusive. Just kidding. Everything else is coming to PlayStation. So obviously this is a holdover from a previous vision for the company, but nonetheless a very exciting one, because I mean, hey, who doesn't want to fucking know more about OD after so many years of having it teased and teased and teased and never having anything to show for it? So that is cool that we finally got some kind of an update. There are like 2 screenshots of the game also that were released along with this Entertainment Weekly update or story. So I encourage you to look that up online if you want to kind of get some glimpse at with some more of this game. Not that you're really going to glean a whole lot from it. But yeah, man, it's cool to see some update on Blade, some update on OD, and to know some of these games that we've known about that have been announced that weren't at the Xbox showcase are allegedly still coming, even though apparently everyone's losing their job in a week or two. So knock on wood, hopefully this is a sign of these games being safe. I don't know, we should see. But let's get into the last one. This is the last one I screenshotted and said, oh, we should talk about this. This is possibly the least interesting thing, which is Candy Crush. So Sharma talks about plans for Xbox to have a more open ecosystem to invite more developers and to have more types of games to invite more players, but also thinks about the different ways of play. So before we read on, I'm just going to say, this is like one of the only things Asha Sharma's ever said that's made me go, uh-oh, there's that old Xbox peeking through, like in a bad way. There are plenty of people out there that don't consider themselves gamers, but for example, spend endless hours leveling up on Candy Crush. Quote, the thing we've been trying to do the most here is to treat everybody, whether they describe themselves as gamers or not, as important. We try to have a very mainstream product. This is Aaron Greenberg, my bad. Right? Green? Who is this? No, Green. This is some guy from fucking King. Candy Crush, which plans to release an album that reimagines some of gaming's most iconic soundtracks later this year, feels important for Xbox's bigger picture. Back to the showcase, as Sharma sits on the room in a room backstage after the presentation, she explains how gaming is unaffordable in many cases, and in terms of how we've traditionally thought about it, it's not just because of hardware crisis, but it's also because of the attention economy and the competition of subscriptions. Candy Crush, in that regard, feels more accessible. It's really a hard formula, as Sharma remarks. It's really challenging as a business, but I think it's really a special business. So this makes me a little nervous, being like, hey, we got a lot of financial turmoil to deal with here in the world of gaming, but we have really big IP, and Candy Crush makes a lot of money, and soccer moms that play Candy Crush don't consider themselves gamers, but there they are playing a video game, right? I'm like, okay, don't do it. Don't do the thing. Don't do the Xbox Connect thing. Don't do the Wii Blue Ocean thing. Don't do the this is an Xbox thing. You gotta resist the urge to do the fucking stupid, every time a woman plays on her phone, she's playing a video game, so that means all women are video game fans just like men. It's like, listen, you're trying to make money. It's awesome if women play games. Women should be encouraged to play video games. Let's not sit here and talk about soccer moms playing Candy Crush on their phone as gamers, because that's not how you're going to help grow Xbox as a brand. It's how you're going to piss off your hardcore user base by focusing on things they don't care about. It's how you're going to further ostracize a community of people who already don't give a shit about your brand, which is the soccer moms playing Candy Crush. Listen, I'm sure there's a lot of blood to be extracted from the stone of Candy Crush after all these years, but trying to more closely integrate and associate with Xbox, I don't know that that's going to be your step forward. And listen, you can make an amazing, fun, unique, very console-centric game that just so happens to be tied to the Candy Crush IP, and it's not going to make soccer moms buy an Xbox. So just understand what you have, understand the role these products have, and where they live, and just try to accept where you are and what you have instead of making square pegs fitting around holes, because it never works out. Nobody gives a shit about Kinect. Nobody wants to see fucking Candy Crush on their Xbox. No. The dildo in your wife's bedroom drawer that pleasures her more than you is not an Xbox, for the last time. Alrighty. Take a water break real quick. I'll be right back. All right, let's get back to it. It looks like the Tampa Bay Rays might actually win a baseball game. That's exciting. All right. Let's wrap up with a couple of smaller stories as we get into the end here. So this is another one that kind of like bewilders me. It's like, why are you doing this to yourselves? Why are you constantly letting Xbox look bad? So randomly last week, Treyarch goes on Twitter and it's just like, hey, Iron Galaxy, this support studio that works out of Chicago and Orlando and some other city. They're in a couple different cities. They're going to be porting over the original 2010 Call of Duty Black Ops and its sequel 2012's Black Ops 2. They're going to be porting this over to PlayStation 5 via PS4 in July, next month. And that's basically all they said. They're like, yeah, we're gonna get Black Ops 1 and 2 together. We're gonna port them to the PS4 so you can play them on your PS4 or via backwards compatibility on PS5. And that will bring these games to PlayStation in a modern sense. Okay. Now, I understand that these games were originally PlayStation 3 games back when they came out in 2010, 2012. I understand the PS3 is a weird motherfucker when it comes to its hardware, and that you cannot just play PS3 games on modern hardware. I understand. And so it's a unique problem PlayStation has, and Xbox didn't have that problem. That's why you're able to get so many of your Xbox 360 games available via backwards compatibility, and why people on Xbox Series X have been able to play Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 for years and years, because backwards compatibility is awesome. It's king on Xbox, and it's great. But here's the problem. If you port these games forward to PlayStation, you have to get new servers to support them. Yeah, sure, it's not a remake, it's not a remaster, you're not adding new features, you're not adding new maps or anything. It's not like you're making a new game for PlayStation. It's not available for Xbox. It's the same Black Ops that's available on Xbox via backwards compatibility, but now available on PlayStation. Here is the problem. When you make this game, when you port it over to PlayStation 4 and PS5, you have to have new online servers. You have to have all these new features or all this new backend infrastructure to support the game. So people who buy this on PS4 and 5 will now be able to play these classic games and enjoy bot-free, hacker-free lobbies on multiplayer, whereas all of us on Xbox and PC who have been able to play these games for years and years since they originally came out, thanks to backwards compatibility, we're shit out of luck. Because yes, I can play Black Ops 2 right now on my Xbox Series X through backwards compatibility, but I'm just going to get fucked up by some guy hacking all around the map. So why are we taking care of PlayStation people but not Xbox people? This would be frustrating but fine in a world where Activision is independent and doesn't see the value in pumping any money into Xbox for this project. But I don't know if you know this. Call of Duty and Activision are actually owned by Xbox. So why the fuck are you preserving these games and making them more accessible on PlayStation and just telling your own platform, Xbox, to fuck off? Like, this is just a really dumb thing to do. So people have been pointing this out and bitching and moaning all over the internet about it. We're waiting for an update. I hope they address it. I hope they're able to do something. I'm not smart enough to know what the options would be, but maybe they can refresh the servers on Xbox when they bring this to PlayStation next month. I don't know. Maybe they'll listen to the fan feedback and do a different port to Xbox. I don't know. You can get, I think the games are like $40 each, and then you can get like the DLC packs for these games for like $10 each or something like that. It's not super cheap, but it's not super expensive either. The game prices have been lowered and matched on Xbox and PC to match these new prices for PlayStation. But yeah, other than that, I guess if you're on Xbox, you get to play on old servers with hackers and bots. And if you're on PlayStation, you get to relive the glory days of 2012's Black Ops 2. So fuck you, Xbox. Should have been a PlayStation, I guess, right? I do look forward to hopefully getting some good news and a good follow-up on that, though. All right, next up, let's talk about some interesting comments from the a very Xbox associated developer. This is from VGC, this write-up, but the director of Xbox's critically acclaimed Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps has criticized Microsoft's Game Pass strategy, claiming that the subscription service could have been a bigger success if the company did not incentivize studios to, quote, slop out mediocre content like a factory. Game Pass has come under focus again this week after news broke that Microsoft's allegedly planning to significantly cut talent across the business, including potential closures of studios. But Game Pass, known for its subscriber figure, last known subscriber figure was around 34 million. Published back in February 2024. However, growth is understood to have slowed in recent years, and Xbox recently confirmed that a price rise introduced last year shed millions of subscribers in a few months. Moon Studios CEO Thomas Mahler, who directed both Ori games, and wrote on Twitter that he believed Game Pass hasn't been more successful because Xbox did not produce enough hits. Mahler was responsible for a post on the 3D Realms from the 3D Realms founder George Broussard, in which he questioned whether Microsoft overbought studios in an attempt to feed its Game Pass ambitions. Quote, the Game Pass strategy could have worked if people would have shown up for it, Mahler wrote. Problem is, they didn't, and the software catalog was just nowhere near as good as it needed to be to make people happily pay the subscription every month. It's the same as when streaming in the film. It's the same thing with streaming in the film business. I'll happily pay for HBO sub because HBO has amazing content that I want to watch. I'd keep that subscription just to binge Sopranos, The Wire, Game of Thrones, etc. But with games, New, for some reason, is very, very important to players. And if your new content doesn't even remotely match the quality of old content, you've got a problem. The Moon Studio CEO added that let me do something real quick. Hang on. Let's come back to that point. The Moon Studio CEO added that he believed Microsoft needed its bigger studios to deliver more hits from a broad audience that they would want to play. But what was the big Xbox game in recent years that was just delightfully good? That game doesn't exist, he wrote. Almost every single first-party studio in recent years has been floundering. You'd want Bethesda to create a Skyrim in space. That ought to be better than Skyrim was, because it was an older game, but we got Starfield instead. And that's the crux of the issue. You need Xbox folks to deeply, fundamentally understand gamers and what they want. They need to understand what's good and what's a mediocre game. They need to have good deals with devs so developers are actively incentivized to produce massive hits, not just slop out mediocre content like a factory. Mahler said that Xbox Game Pass has become a little communism. Become a little like communism because it had not given developers a strong incentive to roll up their sleeves and go the extra mile. And if you don't get the quality you need, it all comes crashing down because players will not pay unless you basically force them to by making content that's so good that they feel like they miss out if they don't check it out. All right. A lot of that is all well and good. A lot of that is talking points we've probably brought up in the past. The thing I want to harp on or stall on for a second here is when he says, it's the same as with streaming in the film business. I'll happily pay my HBO subscription because HBO has amazing content that I want to watch. Game of Thrones, Sopranos, binge watching, The Wire, whatever. But with games, new for some reason is very, very important to players. And if your content doesn't even remotely match the quality of old content, you've got a problem. This is perhaps the most simplistic yet salient big point I've never mentioned, never thought about when discussing the Game Pass problem. And that is so true. It's funny because this completely applies to me. I have two streaming services for TV, HBO Max and Disney Plus. On Disney Plus, I use it because I generally like a lot of content Disney owns, and sometimes there's new stuff I want to watch. That's great. But the main thing I watch on Disney Plus is I just rewatch Marvel content I've already seen, or what I've been doing the last few months is I am watching through all of the old Netflix Marvel street level crime superheroes, crime fighting superheroes, in anticipation of the new Spider-Man. So Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, The Defenders, Iron Fist, all that. And these are shows that came out in like 2015, 2017, 2018 on Netflix and are now just backlog content for Disney Plus since they own Marvel and Marvel is all streamed through Disney Plus. And it's funny because I pay for Disney Plus every month, and what I've been watching for the most part the past year has been content that's just been available for years. Content that I could have watched on Netflix 10 years ago. Stuff that's just been around for a long time. And it's so true because Game Pass doesn't work that way. If Game Pass was the thing I always say it should be, which is it's cheaper and it's not the primary way to engage with games on Xbox, but is a subscription where you get games that are 1 year or older for a nominal fee, thus still incentivizing people to buy new games. If it was that, Game Pass would be so much less enticing because the reason people love Game Pass isn't just because of how many games it has, but it's because of the day one first party games. It's because people know I'm going to get Gears of War day one in Game Pass. I'm going to get Fable day one in Game Pass. That's what gets people hyped about Game Pass. New games day one in Game Pass. Whereas with streaming and TV and movies, it's like, listen, the new Avatar movie that came out a few months ago, that just now came to Disney Plus. I wanted to see it in theaters. I missed the theater run. I'm going to see it on Disney Plus, whatever. But the way it's done for movies is I am told, want to see the new Avatar? Go spend $15, go to the movie theater, go watch it there. If you don't want to do that, wait 6 months. It will come to Disney Plus. Xbox doesn't do that. They go, you want to play the new Halo game? Great. It's on Game Pass. Don't give us any money. Why? Why? And that is such an interesting point. And I don't think you can put that genie back in the bottle and have it be Game Pass because it's true. Gamers want new. even though I still haven't played Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 after like 2 decades of saying I'm going to play Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. The truth of the matter is, I'm really looking forward to playing Star Fox when it comes out tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to playing Splatoon Raiders when it comes out next month. I just finished playing 007 First Light, which just came out, and it was great. I can't wait for fucking Modern Warfare 4 and GTA 6 and all these games that are new, even though I know damn well in my backlog, I keep saying, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to play Half-Life 2. Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to play fucking Trepang. All these games that have been in my backlog that I keep saying I'm going to play that. Final Fantasy 7, I'm going to finally play it. Nope. New game came out. Now I'm playing that. It's so true. In gaming, it really is new takes precedent over everything else. And then that new has to be earth-shattering, groundbreaking stuff. But if it's not, you should have luck. And that's the situation Xbox finds themselves in. I think it's a very poignant thing to say. And I just really appreciate that insight. But, it's crazy, man. It's a harsh, sobering truth to see someone who, that they're not first party, but Moon Studios, they really got their name and built their image and everything by working with Xbox on those Ori games. I mean, Xbox kind of helped put them on the map. And to hear them talk about Xbox so blatantly and brutally like that, I mean, it's honest, it's fine, it's valid, but I mean, dude, like, I don't know what you want to hear. Like, this is what the people that even work with you think about you. Clearly, you're doing the wrong thing. Hashtag get rid of Game Pass. All right, let's wrap up this story this week with just two really sad little tributes to some unfortunate deaths. So first one here is that Claude Guillemot, one of the co-founders of Ubisoft, died in an aircraft crash last week, which is really sad. He was 69 years old, co-founded the publisher in 1986 with his 4 brothers. Yves Guillemot is the current CEO and chairman, but Claude was the president and CEO of Guillemot Corporation, a company that specializes in equipment and accessories for PC, mobile devices, and consoles. So that is really unfortunate. Of course, you wish the best for his family in their time of need. That's going to have some impact and ramification for the Ubisoft company. The other one here is that, and not to say anyone's life is worth more than someone else, but this one just hit a little more for me just because of this person's work just meaning more to, having a greater impact in my life personally. But Bobby Prince, the composer of the iconic soundtrack for the original Doom games, has passed away at the age of 81. Prince started composing for video games in the early 90s and regularly worked with id Software and Apogee Software. His work included the soundtracks for Wolfenstein 3D, Rise of the Triad, and numerous episodes of the Commander Keen action platform series. He was best known, however, for his composition on the iconic Doom and its sequel Doom 2, which are famed for its frantic heavy metal inspired tempo. Here's a really interesting thing. I didn't know this, but last month, the Library of Congress announced that his soundtracks for Doom would be selected for inclusion in its National Recording Registry, declaring it one of the 25 newly inducted audio treasures worthy of preserving for all time based on their cultural, historical, and aesthetic importance in the nation's recorded sound heritage, which is a huge honor. That's super fucking cool. That's really crazy timing too. Hopefully he was, I don't know the cause of death, but hopefully he was well, cognizant and aware and able to, know that happened, that he was honored and recognized that way. Doom has always been an IP just known for fucking killer music. And those first 2 Doom games just have some, I don't know, those soundtracks, those soundtracks are iconic to me because those are games that I grew up. My oldest brother Josh was always playing Doom on the computer. My older brother Caleb was always playing Doom. I remember he was really big into Doom because my oldest brother was super into it. And then me and Cronky, who are the younger brothers, we always played, obviously we played Doom because our older brothers played it. And then we got the shitty Game Boy Advance ports of the game, back in for Christmas in 2001 or something like that, or 2002, I want to say. And, we played the fuck out of those. And it's just, I don't know, man, Doom, those are special games and the music in those games fucking rocks. So, of course, respects to everyone's family, all the loss and the pain that comes with the, untimely loss of both these gentlemen. And, just as always, I always say it's important to note these things when they come up in the news, because the only thing that matters way more than the cosmetics or the price of Grand Theft Auto or the price of the Steam machine or this developer's opinions on why Game Pass is good or bad or whatever Entertainment Weekly wants you to think about a Minecraft movie. At the end of the day, we're all here because we have a shared love of video games, and you got to show some respect and appreciate the people who are behind the scenes, whether it's high level leadership or the music composition behind the games we love, or coding and making engines, doing art assets, whatever it is. So many disciplines, so many types of people from all disciplines and all walks of life are required to make video games a reality. And it's seeing people pass away, it's just a sobering reminder of the actual human element that goes into these things. So it's cool. And you always just want to pay your respects to those fine folks. So thank you guys for all that you contributed, and may you rest in peace. All right, guys, I'm going to stop here for a water break. Come right back. We're going to talk about the games I've been playing and round out with the comments for the week. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, let's get back to the podcast with the games I've been playing this week. But before, you know how it is, before I'm talking about what I've been playing, I got to tell you about what I've been eating. Of course. All right, let's see. We got 2 to pick from here. Let's start with the big one, guys. All right, 250 Years of America. More like Mountain Dew Whiteout is back, bitch. Okay, they brought it back, guys. My favorite soda of all time. It's back. I don't think I talked about this on the show. I don't think so. Apologies if I have. But so I've been out of the Mountain Dew game for a while. I don't really drink Mountain Dew anymore. I don't really buy it anymore. And honestly, I've just kind of like had to pull myself away from the fandom of Mountain Dew, because they put out way too many flavors of this shit all the time. And it's gone from like, oh, that's an interesting flavor of Mountain Dew, to like, that's just some random combination of sugar and artificial flavoring slapped together with a Mountain Dew sticker on the bottle. Like, it's not even Mountain Dew anymore. It's just anything fruity, sweet, high fructose corn syrup, carbonated. Pepsi company just calls it Mountain Dew at this point. So I've kind of been out on Mountain Dew for a little while. I've just been a little down the dumps about how much bullshit they pumped out of this brand lately. But they did do a move this summer that has pulled me right back in, or at least for the time being, because I'm over the moon. So Mountain Dew Whiteout, my favorite soda of all time, has been brought back temporarily after being missing for the better part of a decade at this point. So they have this new thing to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States. And to all of our international listeners, oh my God, you guys, it's insufferable. You can't go to a fucking gas station to buy a pack of cigarettes without getting a little fucking 250 anniversary sticker on every piece of merchandise. But Mountain Dew is selling this special pack of Mountain Dew. It's an 18 pack of soda, which is weird. That sounds like a shrinkflation type of thing. But it is an 18 pack of soda, and it comes with 3 different flavors, 6 cans of each. And it is Mountain Dew Red, White, and Blue. Code Red, the red soda, Voltage, the blue soda, and Whiteout, the white soda. And oh man, I'm over the fucking moon that this exists. So I went out and I found this thing. I went to a couple Walmarts and I ended up buying 2 18 packs of this just because I wanted 12 cans of Mountain Dew Whiteout, my favorite soda that has been defunct for the better part of a decade. Mountain Dew Code Red, maybe this is a hot take. I liked Code Red a lot when I was a kid, when it was bigger in like the 90s and 2000s, and I liked it a lot as a kid. But now when I drink Mountain Dew Code Red, I'm like, the first sip, I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. But by sip 2 or 3, I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. That's too much. I'm good. I don't really care for Mountain Dew Code Red anymore. Mountain Dew Voltage, the blue one, I've always liked that one. I've always thought that's actually one of the better flavors. I would say Whiteout, Voltage, and Game Fuel are probably the best Mountain Dews of all time. So I'm a big fan of Mountain Dew Voltage. Pretty cool. I'll take 12 cans of that, no problem. But Mountain Dew Whiteout, oh God, how I've missed oh man, it's been way too long. Of course, winner of the 2010 Democracy. This flavor has been around ever since then. And then right around the time I graduated school and moved down to Florida, Pepsi announced that they were kind of phasing out Whiteout at least in the East Coast United States. I think they do still sell it in parts of like the Midwest and stuff. But it's pretty much become impossible to get in recent years. But for them to bring it back just for this America 250 celebration, oh boy, it's so nice. I cracked open a can of this shit, and it was like never skip the beat. It's just as good as I remembered it being, and really enjoying the fuck out of this smooth, citrusy Mountain Dew flavor. Shout out to my Mountain Dew Whiteout. If you've never had it, then you're a bad person. You're going to hell. I don't know what to tell you. But that's it for what I've been eating. Super excited about it. I'll be enjoying that until it's gone after this summer. But now let's move on to what I've been playing. I wrapped up 007 First Lights this past weekend. I feel bad because I feel like so much life has happened between the 4 days or whatever since I beat this game that it's not fresh on my mind anymore. So talking about it isn't as, I don't know. I will say this. I fucking love this game. This game is easily a top contender for game of the year right now. I don't think it's my personal favorite game of the year, but it is a very, very excellent game. And I could totally understand and respect why you would put it up there as a game of the year contender. I think this game is super special because once you really get into it and its gameplay kind of gets its hooks in you, you realize it's this kind of like constant like cycling between missions where it's like stealthy and you're trying to like get to a place, unlock a thing, do a thing, and you can kind of attack the level or the situation kind of like a little sandbox where it's like, oh, what do you want to do? You got to get in here and get the key card. Do you want to knock out this guard and take him out stealthily and steal the key card, sneak in this room and get the thing? Or do you want to go in here guns a-blazing, just kill everyone? Or do you want to be less violent and just knock everyone out? Or do you want to take this route or that route? Or do you want to distract the guard by doing this or that? Do you want to make this guy sick? Do you want to distract the guy with the fucking vacuum going off by hacking it or whatever? And it's very Hitman-like. It gives you so many toys and tools to play with, so many sandboxy ways to attack the puzzle of go here and do this, but you can go about it in a million different ways. And that's really fun. But then when you're not doing that, the game is like an Uncharted game. It's like platforming, scaling buildings, climbing things, jumping, running. And then when you're not doing that, it is third-person shooter. It is take cover, shoot guys, kill guys, survive, clear the level. And it's the game's way of cycling between that with excellent cinematics, some slower moments of dialogue, some car chase sequences and things like that. The way the game cycles through these core gameplay elements is so fun and so fresh that by the time the credits roll, I realized there is not a single moment of this game that I would consider to be boring or I would say, oh, it drags. I would say this game is very, very edge of your seat, entertaining and fun from start to finish. It is very expertly a video game that captures the essence of a high thrills action summer blockbuster movie. They have perfectly one-to-one recreated what it feels like to watch a James Bond, a Mission Impossible, a Fast and Furious type thrill in the form of a video game. And I say that as someone who has no experience with the James Bond film franchise, but I have seen plenty of action movies and I do love Mission Impossible and Fast and Furious. So I do to some extent get what an action movie is. And I just feel like this game absolutely fucking nails it. The writing is excellent. The acting is excellent. The characters are great. This game has like 0 characters that I dislike. It's actually insane how well everyone is portrayed and written in this game. It is classy. It is fun. It is impressive. It is visually striking. The audio is great. The only thing about this game that I would openly, heavily criticize is that the gunplay is just not super good. There's a lot of room for improvement in a sequel with this game's gunplay. It doesn't feel very snappy. The aiming feels a little wonky. It's not as responsive as it should be. I definitely think there's some room for improvement here. But I will say this, to the game's defense, even though the shooting isn't the best, I found myself getting very accustomed and used to it over the course of the game. I was struggling with the shooting and just the auto aim's not great and all these things at first. But by the end of the game, I was like, yeah, it's technically not great, but I'm very competent and comfortable with playing it as it is. And so I just find this game overall to be one of those games where you really have to nitpick to find something not to love about it. Like there's a bunch of gazmos and gadgets and gizmos you get throughout the game. But some of them I found to be like a little uninteresting, so mostly just stuck to my same core toys throughout the game. But again, it's like that's really my preferred play style, so it's not like it's not really a criticism of the game. For the most part, I feel like this game just offers so many ways to play, so much fun. There's always something exciting to look forward to. You're always on the edge of your seat, and it's just a very, very one of a kind, beautiful, bespoke, AAA, high quality experience. I cannot recommend enough. I truly think First Light is, I would say from a like blockbuster, like mainstream, like tell your friends at work about this kind of game thing, this is like the game so far of 2026, in my opinion. Now, my favorite game of the year is probably the game, another game I've been playing this week, and probably the game I played the most this year, which is Vampire Crawlers. I'm just so helplessly addicted to Vampire Crawlers. I cannot get enough of this game. I will not go into it anymore. We just talk about it too much. But I am so fucking stuck on the last level of this game, and it's driving me nuts. But I cannot stop playing it. I fucking love this game. It's probably my game of the year. It is so helplessly addicting. But the real other game I wanted to mention I've been playing is Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. I like this game a lot more now that I'm in the latter half of it, now that I really have stuck with it and played through a lot of it. I still think the game is very, it's a Yoshi game. It is rudimentary. It is easy. It is designed to be very all ages with the emphasis on the, accessibility for young ages. And I don't know, it's really good. It's really cute. I love the art style so much, the little 2D picture book kind of art style. The game has so much visual identity that it reminds me of Yoshi Story for the N64. But after playing it so much, I realized this game it has for sure some Yoshi Story DNA in it, the most of any Yoshi game I can remember playing that outside of Yoshi Story. But it is also pretty different and unique. It's not Yoshi Story 2, so don't go in expecting that. I do think the game is really charming, really cute. Sometimes a little confusing sometimes to like find all the things, because the way you play the levels is you don't go from point A to point B and win. It's like the levels are actually quite small. They're pretty compact, and it's about being introduced to a mechanic of every level and trying to exhaust all the things you can do with that mechanic to collect and explore everything in the level. And then when you're done, you can opt to leave the level and move on. And I just feel like as someone who loves the run from point A to point B kind of gameplay loop, I feel like that kind of breaks up the flow of this and it makes the game feel more bite-sized, like something that you're supposed to play a little here, a little there, and less like a game you want to play from start to finish all the way through. But I like it. It's cute. It's totally serviceable. It's a fun little Yoshi game. I wouldn't recommend it to most, but if you like these kinds of games, by all means. I do have to just say Yoshi's so fucking cute. I've been begging my girlfriend to take me to Universal City Walk lately because I want to go to the Nintendo store and buy a Yoshi plush because he's such a little fucking cutie pie. I love Yoshi. But anyway, that's it for what I've been playing this week, you guys. Let's round out. I'm starting to lose my voice, so we'll pick up the pace. But let's round out with a couple comments. I think we got 6 of them here. You know how it goes, youtube.com/Xbox on podcast. Click on the latest episode, drop a comment, and we'll read it on the show. We'll start out this week with my mother, who writes in and says, "I've never been to Jersey Mike's, but this show is awesome." Thank you, Mom. And go to Jersey Mike's. It's excellent. Please, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Come on now. All right. Next up, Objects in Space says, "Studio closures always suck, and there really are, and there is a real human impact, but the backlash seems a little forced. Most people complaining about it like they never even played the games complaining about it likely never even played the games from these studios. In fact, most people didn't. If these studios and their games were so valued by the community, their games would have been successful, like they weren't, which is why they're being closed or sold. I know success doesn't always guarantee safety, Tango Gameworks, but the biggest contributor by far is mismanagement by Xbox over budgets, scope, and Game Pass. I want to assume positive intent by Asha. She's been making good moves, and it's likely a necessary evil." I think this kind of really nicely summarizes a large way I feel Objects in Space. I really like the way you put it. And I think it's true. She's someone who's been put in to make some tough decisions and make these necessary evil moves. And I agree to an extent. The extent to which it is the fault, quote unquote, of consumers or Xbox fans is that, yeah, like you're bitching about, "Oh, don't shut down Double Fine. Oh, did you play Kiln? Don't shut down Double Fine. Oh, I love Psychonauts 2. Great. Did you play Keeper? Oh, you can't. Oh, you're going to fire all the people who worked on fucking Hellblade. Oh, okay. What did you think about Hellblade 2? South of Midnight, you're going to shut down South of Midnight Developer Compulsion? It's like, yeah. Which one did you like the most? We Happy Few, South of Midnight. What was your favorite game from these guys? And it's true. A lot of these games were never played by any of these motherfuckers. They're just mad because it's the conversation. It's the attitude you're supposed to adopt right now. But also, I don't want to discredit the importance of the people's voice of being frustrated about studio closures, being frustrated about job loss, because this is an important thing to be vocal about, to complain about, and to make your voice heard on, because we as fellow people need to look out for one another and try to, hope that these corporations are making good faith decisions and helping people stay employed and financially secure. And unfortunately, I think what it comes down to here more than anything is that you can't subscribe to Game Pass, play all these games in Game Pass, bitch about the price of Game Pass, and then be surprised when these companies get shuttered or sold off. Because the reality is these games are expensive to make. Game Pass is not sustainable or profitable. Game Pass is not a way to financially support these teams. Buying their games is. And on top of all that, like you said, Objects in Space, you probably didn't even play these games. So didn't play them. If you did play them, you played them through a means that made $0 for them. If you want to see studios thrive and succeed, go play Keeper. Go play Kiln. I say this as someone who played both of those games. I liked Keeper a lot. I thought Kiln is kind of boring after 2 seconds. It is also... It's very multifaceted, man. You didn't buy the games and therefore they weren't supported. You didn't play the games and therefore they weren't supported. Also, it's that what we talked about, previous Xbox leadership bought a team like Double Fine and let them go make fucking Kiln of all games. Like, why? You bought the Psychonauts guys. Make them go. Tell them, like, you guys need to make a game that sells consoles. We bought you to help make Xbox stronger. Give people a reason to buy an Xbox. That's not what Keeper was. So, not to pick on Double Fine so much, but like, that's the kind of shit where it's just like, man, what do you want? You want your $70 GTA 6. What do you want? You don't want to buy games, but you don't want prices to go up, but you don't want to play games, but you want to subscribe to Game Pass, but not if Game Pass is too expensive, and you don't want people to lose their jobs, but you don't want to play their games. It's like, what do you want? And Asha Sharma's job is to make it all financially viable. Now, is she an innocent person put in a situation where she has to make hard decisions for all these innocent people? It's like, no. There's a lot of bloody hands here. And the Phil Spencer administration clearly are responsible for a lot of this. And Satya Nadella and Amy Hood and all these people for enabling this stupid fucking idea that you can buy all these no-name studios like Compulsion, force them to make these games nobody gives a shit about, throw them in a service no one subscribed to, expect people to subscribe to it, buy Call of Duty for a reckless amount of money, throw it in the subscription service, jack up the prices, piss everyone off, put all your games on PlayStation and go, why aren't we making any money? I'm sorry, dude. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too, and then shit out your cake and then have it again and then have two cakes. Like, this is like the logic behind Xbox, behind Microsoft is just, it's so beyond warped. It's like, just make good games, sell good games, be successful. That's all you got to do. You actually used to do it. If you could go back in time, you could look at like 2007. You guys actually used to do it. You had a console. It was awesome. It was called the Xbox 360. Everyone had it. We loved it. You made video games. Halo 3 was excellent. On top of that, we gladly paid for Xbox Live, $60 a year to play video games online. It was excellent. Go back to that, dude. What are you doing? This is what I mean, though. They dug the hole. There's no, the amount of mid to long-term pain they would have to endure to get back to that. I don't know that any publicly traded company would allow it to happen. And I don't know that any privately held company could afford to let it happen. So I just don't see the solution here. But anyway, let's keep moving onward. Kroenke says, here's my thing. It's like these studios were given a direction of quote unquote, feed Game Pass, not make profitable games. If it had been a direction, I guarantee you we would have seen a different decision made. It doesn't seem fair to compare past actions from Compulsion or Double Fine to a new direction. It feels like they should give these studios a reasonable shot at becoming profitable. I really hope they can spin off and become independent. I'm not an Xbox fan. I'm a fan of specific studios. Therefore, if Xbox shuts down someone like Double Fine, then why are we even here? I don't care if a division of Microsoft is profitable. I care that this incredible team gets to keep putting their fantastic work out there. They're fantastic works of arts out there for the public to enjoy. Yeah, and again, well said. I totally agree. Nothing to disagree with here. I think it just, yes, and it just comes down to this idea that's like, you cannot reasonably assume, oh yeah, we're going to buy this team in San Francisco for all this fucking money. And we're going to say, go make whatever you fucking fancy. And then they're going to put together some like indie style brawler pottery game that nobody gives a shit about. And then we're going to go, I don't know if it makes sense to have this studio in our portfolio. It's like, listen, man, Double Fine. If you have AAA backing, AAA budgets, AAA time to make a game, go make a AAA game. Go make something like a Psychonauts. Go make something like a Brutal Legends. Don't make Costume Quest 3. You know, don't make these small little bite-sized games. I understand that it's great fodder for Game Pass. But it never worked. It never worked. And the fact that they kept going down that road, and more importantly, that Matt Booty and the leadership at Xbox allowed them to go down this path, is the biggest example of leadership failing their teams. And now those teams are paying the ultimate price. And that is inexcusable and unacceptable. But don't shoot the messenger. That's where Asha plays a role in all this. It sucks. The people who did the wrong thing are either in a position like Satya Nadella where they are untouchable, or they're in a position like Phil Spencer where they are no longer there and can't be held accountable because they don't have a job to hold to account. And so everyone fucking loses, and it's just a shit show all around. And this is why you don't do consolidation of the industry for the sake of consolidation. You make wise, tailor-made, courted acquisitions based on a long, vibrant history of working together. It made sense for Xbox to buy Bethesda. It made sense for Xbox to buy, I would say, Playground Games, a team that they worked with for many years. It does not make sense to buy Activision for $69 billion so you can get the fucking sex offender Bobby Kotick, get a jail-free card. Like that was dumb then, it's dumb now, and now everyone sees through it. There's no conversation left to be had. The way that Xbox was being run before was reckless, and now everyone is suffering the consequences. Decoy Doctopus writes in next and says, remake is kind of cringe, but 30 hours to do everything. Rebirth is a lot bigger. I'm on chapter 10 out of 14. 50 hours in. Holy shit. Honestly, I prefer Cyberpunk, especially with the DLC. It's also the prettiest game I've ever played, which is very impressive considering it's an open world. You just reminded me. That's another game that's at the top of my backlog. It's Cyberpunk. And it's funny you say that because I have both Cyberpunk and Final Fantasy VII Remake downloaded, ready to go on my Switch 2, waiting for me to just select one and play. And for some reason, I keep thinking I'm going to Final Fantasy, but you're right. I should do Cyberpunk first. Do you see the dilemma, my brother in Christ? But I'm like the Moon Studios guy said. I'm like, I've had Cyberpunk in my backlog forever, and I've owned it on Xbox forever. Now I own it on Switch, and I still haven't played it. And all I can think about is, Splatoon Raiders comes out next month. I want to play that. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Focus on your backlog. 360 Bro YouTube writes in and says, feels so much better to be watching the Xbox show from the outside in this time around. No regrets, only validation. No, not relishing in the news at all, mind you. 360 Bro, tell us, who are you? You worked at Xbox? Who are you? Are you Phil Spencer, 360 Bro YT? Is that you, Philip P. Spencer? Good for you, man. Outside in. Hey, there you go. Hopefully life is going swimmingly for you and you're happy with where things have, your life has gone and where life has brought you. So good on you, bud. Wookie 808 has the final write-in of the week and says they need to get rid of day one games and Game Pass. Just make it all Xbox games come to Game Pass after 1 year. Preach. I've already gone back to buying all my games anyway. If they want to make games exclusive again, then this feels like a must. Would be great if they dropped the need for online subscriptions too for Helix, and that paired with amazing exclusive games would be very enticing. Unfortunately, these layoffs are looking like a bloodbath, and I really don't want to see these studios let go. I'm a big fan of Bethesda Studios and Double Fine especially. Yeah, and that's part of the saddest bit of this all is obviously I don't want any studio to suffer. I don't really give a shit about here PlayStation here's an example. I don't give a shit about Guerrilla Games, the guys that make Killzone and Horizon. I was actually very excited about Horizon when the first one was announced on PS4. I bought it, I played it, I wasn't impressed. I put it down and said, I don't need to play a sequel. I'm good. I don't need this game. I don't really care for Guerrilla. I never cared for Killzone. I think the studio's always been overrated and kind of unjustified. But fuck, I don't want to see anyone lose their jobs. You know, for people who like their games, good for you. I hope they stay employed and they make lots of money and that they're a valuable asset for PlayStation for many years to come. Like I want people to be secure. I want people to be employed. And I want things to be on the up and up and good for everyone. However, that is one of the hardest things about Xbox is Xbox. They bought some questionable studios. I think Ninja Theory is a head scratcher. I think Compulsion Games is a head scratcher. And, you know, I say that despite the fact that I really liked South of Midnight. However, Xbox bought some fucking bangers. In Exile, Obsidian, Bethesda Game Studios, and all the teams underneath, Machine Games, Bethesda Game Studios, fucking Arcane. I mean, Xbox acquired some of the best talent in the industry. Like, I don't say this lightly. It's just that, like, Xbox really fucking cooked when it came to acquiring some of the best teams that money could buy. And that makes it all the worse. That's like, now they're under Xbox's leadership and Xbox doesn't fucking know how to lead anything. It's like, here's the joke. Leadership, Xbox couldn't lead a shit. You know what I'm saying? But silly, very stupidness aside, very, very stupid, silly boy aside. Yeah, man, it's just super bummy to hear because one of the things that like in Exile, in Double Fine and studios of that ilk have in common is it's like these guys are like they're no run of the mill game developer, you know? They're not no disrespect, but they're not Compulsion. They're not like some game developer that made a couple of games and some of them are known and some of them aren't, some of them were good and some of them could have been better. Like these are history story developers. These are, you know, like Tim Schafer, like this is a guy that has a big name in the games industry. Like everyone who's anyone in the games industry knows who the fuck Tim Schafer is and has the utmost respect for him. Like this is, you're not playing with just any studio. You're playing with a very optically valuable, historically significant piece of gaming history and culture. And so for them to just flippantly be like, do whatever you want to do. We want to make a game where fucking teapots fight each other. All right, you're fired. Like when you do that kind of shit, it's like you put a huge target on Xbox's back. You invite a different level of criticism where you're not just the bad guy because you made people lose their jobs and tell little Timmy he couldn't get braces because their health insurance got canceled. You're now the guy that shut down Tim Schafer's legendary studio. I would hate to be the guy in the position where you have to be that person, where you have to make that decision, where you have to pull that trigger. That fucking sucks, man. And the last thing Xbox needs is more negative press, but they are bringing it on themselves. And I really do, listen, in a world where money doesn't matter and there's all the time in the world and we can just keep buying time and do whatever we want to do, I am also a fan. I saw someone pointed out either on this show or elsewhere, or we've danced around the idea to some extent, but listen, I too am a big fan of the idea. Like you go to Double Fine, you say, listen, I know Phil had this fucking anything goes attitude. We can't do that. That's financially reckless. We can't do that. Double Fine. You guys are great. You're a story developer. We want to see you succeed. You got 6 months, put together 2 or 3 pitches for some new games. Sell us on something that is going to be a head-turning, system-selling, must-play title. Go. You got 6 months. You got 8 months. Go. And let them come to you. Let them say, okay, if we're not spending peanut budgets making peanut games like Kiln, here's what we could do. Here's an idea for a game. Here's a game people will want to play. Here's a game that will turn heads and get major attention. You need to take bigger risks, bolder risks. You need to make bigger games. There's just no place for a company like Xbox to be making small, niche, indie, weekend type games. Like we need substance. And I think that's what you got to do with a company like Double Fine, especially. It's like, that's what you got to do. You can't shut them down. They're in a shitty situation because you enabled them to dig this hole. It's a little fucked up. It's like you handed them the shovel and you said, dig. And now they're all the way down in this hole and you're like, what happened here? And you're about to fucking bury them for it. It's like, dude, come on. Yes, they dug the hole, but who gave them the shovel and told them to do it? You know? So I don't know, man. It's going to be pretty much any fucking day now. I mean, because as of the time we're recording this, it's the last full week of June. Next week is July 1st. I know it's an audio only podcast, but I'm doing the fucking Catholic thing with the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Like, fucking pray for these people, guys. It is very possible that this time next week, I'm podcasting about everyone's fired, everything sucks, everyone's dead. So here's hoping that even though we know this is going to be bad, here's hoping that it is somehow, against all odds, best case scenario, despite the fact that it is bad news. So I'm going to remain optimistic because I just want to will some positivity into existence. I just want something good to happen here, but I don't know, man. I don't know. And I hate to end on a negative note like that, but to say something positive, I'm very excited about playing Impulse this weekend, get into some vampire crawlers. I'm going to Tampa this weekend, watch some baseball, see my Tampa Bay Rays. My dad's in town. I'm going to visit with him. It's going to be good. Some positive stuff. And I hope you guys all have an excellent week as well. I look forward to your comments. Let me know what you think about Grand Theft Auto, Steam Machine, Xbox layoffs, just everything. There's so much to talk about right now. So much going on. Yeah, be safe, be well, eat good food, drink some Mountain Dew, white out, play some excellent video games. And until next week, power your dreams.